Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. And I just want to start off with saying I dropped the ball on this one. I'm really sorry. I wasn't here for the last one, and yeah, things are a little bit hectic. So I just want to straight up apologize for the agenda there. Let's see. Let's just go around and identify ourselves and who we are affiliated with. And then we'll go into our round robin summaries. So I'll start. My name's Emily Inouye. I'm the Plant Health Section Team Lead, she, her pronouns.
Ben Dillner, State Survey Coordinator, Greens Agriculture, Plant Industry, Egan.
Grace Glenn, she or they. I'm the Department Botanist with Fish and Wildlife.
Steve Mortillo, Marsh Billings Rockefeller National Historical Park Natural Resources Lead, National Park Service, and I use he, him pronouns.
Judy Rosofsky, State Entomologist and State Plant Regulatory Official of Vermont Agency of Agriculture, she, her. Howdy.
Kim?
Kim Jensen, Department of Environmental Conservation, Aquatic Invasive Species Program, aquatic biologist. Noah, you want to go?
Yeah,
Good job.
sure. Noah Hoffman. I use he, him pronouns. I'm with the Forest Health Program at the Vermont Department of Forest Parks and Recreation. How about Melissa?
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. Melissa Green, botanist on the Green Mountain Finger Lakes National Forest, and she, her. I will now throw it to Bonnie.
Thanks. My name is Bonnie Donahue. I'm the landscape architect for the Agency of Transportation. My pronouns are she, her, and I'll pass it to Katie Kane.
Hi, everyone. Katie. I'm a fish and wildlife biologist with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. She, her. Caitlin.
Hi, everyone. Caitlin Cusack, she, her pronouns, and I am a forester with the Vermont Land Trust. And I will pass it to Anne.
Hi, Anne Hazelrig, UVM plant pathologist, plant diagnostic clinic, she, her.
Great.
And who hasn't, was I last?
I think you were.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so we're going to go straight into just program updates. If you don't have any, that's totally fine. But it would be wonderful to hear how everybody is doing, what the status is with your programs going into the spring. So, Kim, I like picking on you. I know you knew it. You're not looking at me. Yep, it's you.
Let's see what's going on in DC world. Well, we have a lot going on with the use of public waters rules. We're updating those. We are in public comment at this point, so we are likely changing the wake boat rulings that were prior in 2024 through that update. So we're going to try to limit the use of wake boats in the state of Vermont. So stopping and working on spread prevention. That's taking up a lot of my time. We are also, I did wrap up the aquatic plant control program. I think I've talked about this for almost a year with the Army Corps of Engineers. So we have expanded the program from Lake Champlain Basin to the rest of the state. And that involves not only money and financial support, but also just understanding the many different facets of trying to reduce aquatic invasive species spread throughout the state. So that includes breeder programs and management activities. And if we ever get hydrilla, potentially funds to work on that effort. Unfortunately, there's no money because of last year's federal administration changes. However, I did speak to Army Corps of Engineers folks during the Northeast Aquatic Plant Management Society conference. And he was very positive and optimistic about getting some additional funds. So we were looking at $1.4 million prior to this administration change. So hopefully that will come through. At least the 500,000 that we did receive and have received for many years will likely come through that we did not receive last year. So that's some good news potentially. Also, just, at the conference, the big, scenario that we're looking at is potentially getting hydrilla in the Connecticut River or beyond, and, just working with other Northeast aquatic nuisance species panel folks to try to work on that plan for the Northeast. So there is a huge effort underway for that to we have a management plan already, but just to continue those efforts. I was glad to see that hydrilla is on our list, and we work.
Is it in the Connecticut?
It's in the Connecticut. So we don't want it in Massachusetts.
No,
And it's also spread from the original location in 2018 when it was first discovered to much, throughout the Connecticut River. And then it's also spread to about 45 water bodies in Connecticut within that time. So it's like wildfire down there. So that's one of the reasons why I developed this new aquatic plant control program, because the Connecticut River was not covered in any way financially or, with resources. So, yeah, now if we can get the money. So the Army Corps of Engineers is involved with that project in Connecticut, and the NEANS panel from other states worked on Connecticut's behalf to make that happen, because Connecticut did not have an aquatic nuisance species person working on that for the state. So we also helped them get that.
Who was working on it then?
No, nobody.
Oh,
We
just nobody.
were all.
Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry, wait a second. The Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station was working on it. And they're the ones that brought it to our attention. And they are still working on it, and they have received some funds to help them. So it was through ag, which was amazing. So other than that, yeah, just trying to get all the water chestnut contracts ready for next year. I think I mentioned last year, there's a couple of new sites of water chestnut on Lake Champlain. And we're also working on the Lumbo lutea. So I would like to maybe talk about that if we're able to, if we have time at the end, the
Yeah,
Lumbo
definitely.
lutea population. American lotus. That's all I have to report.
It's a lot,
That's a
actually.
lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have that amount?
No,
Okay.
the only update I have is that we have been working with Charles Martin, who's the Deputy Secretary at ANR. He interfaces with the legislature and can, pitch ideas to them and here's what they're interested in. And he has gotten really interested in trying to get more native seed available at nurseries instead of, all that we have for seed mixes is things with non-native species in them. And he's got like all this momentum working with ag, actually. I don't know who it is. It's Ag's outreach people. They are developing. Yeah.
Wait, Agency of Ag or UVM?
Yeah, Agency of Ag.
Yeah.
So,
Lisa? Okay.
yeah.
Oh, so serious. Hey, we can just- yeah.
Let's see.
Sure.
Scott Waterman.
Oh.
So Scott Waterman and Charles Martin have been working on developing a survey that Charles wants to distribute to nurseries to get a better idea of what is the most prohibitive thing here for people, like what's holding them back from not providing native species or propagating native species or selling native plants. And then can we like get somebody to introduce a bill to provide grant money essentially for nurseries to, like, I guess it would be produce seed mix at a large enough scale to provide for like some restoration projects.
This is great news.
Right,
Yeah,
but we don't really have.
I just don't-
native
Yeah,
recipes, right?
Yeah, we do. Intervale Center uses native stock.
It's like that.
Yeah,
This is like in.
Yeah.
In,
Yeah.
you know, sort of
Yeah.
negative stuff, but it's basically like, yeah, how could you support nurseries like that? You know,
Awesome.
there's, if you've heard of like the grant programs through the Lake Champlain Basin
Sure.
program, where they have like hundreds, thousands of dollars for nurseries to grow native trees. This would be like, one idea is that there could be a similar thing for people to produce native grass seed.
I think that would be a great thing to mention to Meg, because I think she would support that in that category. So Meg's not here today, but maybe we can just reach out to Meg, see if that could be a component. Meg Mobley with the Lake Champlain Basin
Oh, yeah.
program.
You say, is it just native grasses?
No, could be any native plants. It's, yeah, there's no, you know, there's no existing program. It's just sort of visioning at this point.
that's really cool.
But yeah, I think
I
it's. really
can't wait to
exciting.
hear about it. Yeah.
I mean, it's
great.
exciting to have the interest.
Interest. I mean,
Yeah.
like even completely independent of us, they're still doing that. That's awesome.
It wasn't my, yeah.
Yeah,
He
that's, I
mentioned
mean,
it to me one day.
there's
It's like,
interest. I think that's definitely
it
worth
actually was just
noting.
Because he went to buy a seed mix like for his garden, he saw that it said 2% other. Like, what the hell? Like,
That's why.
how would they do this? And he got really into it.
Access to power, people. I mean, I just want to highlight that.
We're gonna put a
That's
native
crazy.
grass pasture in the park. The seed source was tough, but also finding other people that think these products were really difficult.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a few companies that do native seed mixes. So in my former job, I used to get seeds from a particular company. I can't think of it. It's a Vermont-based company. And then Vermont Wetlands Supply also has native seeds too.
They're not purely native. There's species of them too,
Mm,
which is another
yeah,
Mm,
issue.
right.
So,
Yeah, the genetics.
great.
of that seed mix is a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
the
all sorts
genetics.
of-
Cool.
So, yeah, I'll keep ag people updated, you know, I have not really been, Charles has really been heading up this initiative, but if I hear more, I'll let you know, and I'm guessing that it will be
Vice
next
versa.
year that things will really,
Yeah.
you know, like next legislative session.
You mentioned a survey. Do you,
Yeah,
we now have a nice lister for all of our registered nurseries, landscapers, so that we can definitely send that out.
Well, maybe we should just check
That's-
in with Scott.
yeah, we should definitely.
Yes.
hold them to that. Yeah,
So.
yeah, do you wanna ask? Do you wanna ask him about that, or do you want me to?
Well, maybe you, since you're already in contact with them.
I haven't talked to Scott, but.
Okay.
I
No,
can-
let me talk to him.
Okay.
Let me just reach out to Scott. I'll call him and ask him.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. No, this is great.
But definitely, you
No,
know,
this is, yeah.
You should have the chance to.
Also, yeah, I think like when we're physically at a nursery and saying, you know, finding that we're just having conversations. It's-
Yeah. Yeah, we'll close the loop with Scott.
Okay, good.
Anything else? There is something else.
Fun.
Grace did a wonderful job doing a presentation at the VNLA last week. And so I just want to highlight that that was a really cool bridge and got a lot of positive feedback about that. So, I mean, that's just another connection in this web that is starting to be connected, which is really cool.
VNLA.
The Vermont Nursery and Landscaping Association.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
I didn't
Nursing
either.
and Landscape Association?
Yeah,
Wow.
this, yeah, taking to interface with that world,
great.
it was valuable, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Nursery, not nursing.
Right.
Nursery.
Nursery.
Oh, okay, nursery. I heard
You said
nursing.
nursing?
Yeah, I said nursing. I thought you
Oh,
said nursing.
Did I say, I'm sorry, did I say nursing? I meant nursery. I mean, this is, yeah, I wasn't talking about old people.
Nursery landscape.
Nursery
Okay.
and landscaping,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a little niche right there. Yeah. Bonnie, go for it.
Thanks. Grace, I am, well, DOTs in our region have done a lot on this, and we have some studies we could, do you want me to share what we have so far? It's on this, because this is like, we've been doing a lot of research is being done to try to figure out how native seed can be produced in larger quantities and purchasable for DOTs and then other groups. So you guys may already be aware of some of the resources, but like it's like I do have some info I could share.
That would be great. Thanks, Bonnie. It'd just be great to connect on where you're at, so we're not,
Oh, yeah.
duplicating efforts and,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool. Okay, I'll follow
Okay,
up with
maybe
you
we can-
separately.
Okay, that sounds great.
Steve?
Yeah, so I don't have too much updates. It's been a year, and I think we are looking to accomplish a lot of the same things we did. We're just trying to get creative with funding and where that's coming from. I think one of the big things in terms of invasives we started doing is we have a program now to treat beech for beech leaf disease and to select for beech bark resistant beech. So those beech that are showing resistance to beech bark disease, treating them with essentially phosphites to activate their own immune response. And that's shown a lot of promise. Also with the
How do you apply
agricultural,
that?
it's just a bark spray. I mean, and it's super cheap and easy. So it's an interesting product. If you put it on the soil as a drench, it's actually a fertilizer. But if you spray it on a tree, it's a pesticide. So we worked with the state about, getting permission to apply that. And so that's been going well. And we worked with, a lot of this information is coming out of the Connecticut Agricultural Research Station. So I think his name is Richard Cowles, or
Yeah.
Coles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was working with baby tree experts and essentially discovered that this is a solution to it. And then we've got, we're continuing our invasive plant management work at the park. We're adding a couple new species, like lesser periwinkle, ginkgo minor, and goutweed to
Yeah,
the
it's
list of
horrible.
controlled species. Goutweed is so hard to treat. I mean, it's just the most bulletproof plant. Other than that, yeah, I think we're just trying to keep the operations moving forward this year. And, apologies, I had hoped to have some time to dig into some PRAs, and we ended up just having to go back to basics in a pretty big way to get what we needed to do done. So
Have things stabilized a little bit?
yeah, I could be careful about what I talk about,
Yep.
what I'm authorized to talk about, but
Good to see you.
yeah.
All right. Is that it?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Caitlin? You have anything from VLT?
Nothing really. I mean, we just continue to treat invasive plants on our lands. And we're continuing to treat these ash preservation patches around the state. But Steve, I was excited to hear about your work on beech because it's something we're really interested in thinking more about and being part of. So I may be in touch. Red Start sent me the kind of info on it. So I'd love to kind of learn more. But that's pretty much it from us.
Yeah, we'll show you the whole thing. It's good. You're right across the fields there.
Yeah, King Farm. That would be great. I will be in touch.
Awesome.
Caitlin, I had a quick question. Do you have a map of those sites where you're treating ash trees or?
We do. Yeah, I think I shared our map with Noah at one point. But I can send it to you, Judy. We've got TNC's sites on there too, as
Okay.
well as a couple of towns, and then like Equinox Preservation Trust. I also have Green Mountain Forest GPS points too, if that's helpful.
Great, yeah. It'd just be good to know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's not accessible to the public, like we can sit on it. It's just good information. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will send that. I'll email you that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Caitlin. Katie?
I don't think any major updates from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, other than, yeah, we have ongoing management at all of the sites that we're managing.
Okay. Melissa?
Not a lot. I am just back from a 6-week winter layoff. So I also apologize that I did not participate in any of the PRAs, but I was not working. We are looking forward to having we're not looking forward to this, but we have only 1 week of Vermont Youth Conservation Corps crew this year to do any manual work. So it's because we have 3 years left on our contract and only 3 weeks left in the contract. So we're trying to stretch it out. In the meantime, we're under kind of obviously more pressure to increase timber harvesting, which comes along with mitigations that I'm not really sure how we're going to actually accomplish. But one thing that we're doing is we are submitting some applications for grant funding under the IIJA, which I think is like Investment Infrastructure Jobs Act. And one is we're looking, our wildlife team is looking to treat like watersheds from the top down along the roads for NNIP. And then another really cool idea that they had was to ask for funds for an e-bike with an herbicide trailer, because we've had a real increase in both the Velomont bike trails and other bike trails. And we're finding singles of plants that are creeping in, on people's tires or shoes or whatever. And so we have the interest in riding all the trails every year and just spraying them as we go to hopefully keep that at an EDRR level. And then the last thing that I was just going to mention is it seems like we have a project coming up, which is the Green Mountain Northern Escarpment, where we'll be reintroducing fire onto the landscape. And we're having a lot of public scrutiny with people being concerned about herbicide use there. So that'll just be something that we're dealing with, mostly because the public just needs to be educated a little bit more. And I think that's it.
I saw some of the articles about that, Melissa. Seems really blown out of proportion.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like they don't have telephone gap to kick around anymore, so they're looking for something else to pick on. But it seems like most of it, it is blown out of proportion, and I don't even understand what they're complaining about, and they might not either. So we'll see how it goes.
Good luck.
Which did you say didn't have what to kick around?
Oh, Telephone Gap was one of our integrated resource projects that was like a huge maelstrom of public controversy, because there's some old growth, which we never planned on cutting in the first place, but they kept saying we were going to cut like 10,000 acres of old growth, which there isn't 10,000 acres, and we weren't going to cut it. But anyways, they just, it's people who don't understand forest management trying to tell us that we're doing our job wrong. So we just do our best. That's all. Sorry, I didn't mean to take so long.
No, it's good.
That wasn't long.
Yeah.
Good info.
Thank you. Anne, do you have anything?
Not really.
Okay.
Same old thing. Wheels move slow at the university. And we're still worried about money. So there you go.
Same. Old stuff. Got it. All right. Noah.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Yeah. So let's see. I have a coordinator position, so I'm with the Forest Health Program, but my work kind of touches on all these different things. So I guess kind of from the FPR side of things, I've been working with our state lands forestry division, state lands management, on some invasive plant management on state lands, some EDRR stuff, and kind of sort of trying to leverage some funds that we have available for a landscape scale restoration grant that's finishing up this year, and then applying for a new cycle of that grant to kind of do some strategic treatment and hopefully some more mapping on state lands. And working with the Forest Health Program, been working on our forest insect and disease conditions report, which just came out. And a big focus, actually, oddly enough, during the winter has been, I've been working on lately, has been identifying our black ash treatment sites, and actually applied for some more funding to treat white ash as well. So kind of like Caitlin was sharing, we are kind of finally, our program has finally been able to start actually doing some ash conservation treatments. So we're pretty excited about that. Right now we're identifying trees out in the field, male and female trees, and for treatment. And it's a little disheartening because emerald ash borer is moving really fast, especially in the black ash species. But we're gearing up to do quite a bit of treatment this year. And I'm taking this. I'm in this GIS and data communications certificate program at UVM. And I've been sort of like fooling around with mapping and stuff a little more lately. And I made a public web map for our ash treatment site. Judy mentioned being interested in, where are these places? So this is just for state lands. It doesn't include DNC or VLT. But if I could put the link to it in the chat. It's just in the ANR Natural Resource Atlas. It's a public web map. So I'll put that in the chat if people are interested in seeing where we are preserving ash trees on state land. And this area will grow. You'll see there are a lot of places up in Northwest Vermont, up in the Champlain Islands, because that's where we sort of started with green ash. Up in that area that was hit pretty hard by EAB. Anyway, I have a lot of different things going on. Those are just some of them. I'm not sure who hasn't gone yet. Bonnie?
And Meg
No.
joined us. I don't know, Meg, are you in a place where you can talk? Oh, hello.
I am now, yeah.
Okay.
We haven't heard from Katie.
Oh, Katie did.
Oh, she did?
Katie went, yeah.
Sorry, Katie.
All right. Hey, Meg, why don't you go?
Okay, just going over what we're up to.
Yeah.
Solid, okay.
Updates.
Hi.
If you don't have any, that's fine.
Oh,
Oh.
we've got updates. Meg Motley with the Lake Champlain Basin Program. Good to see everyone. Yeah, we've got some stuff going on. I've just been wrapping up updates of reviewing lists of over 100 species in New York State that are being recommended for either becoming regulated or prohibited on their Part 575 list, and reviewing species evaluations and making recommendations formally to the New York State Invasive Species Council that will then take up these recommendations that are confidential until they're published, and then they will open for public review and comment based on the council's recommendation. So I was more tasked at looking at aquatics than terrestrials because we are short on aquatics people. So that was been my focus in the last 6 months. I feel like I haven't been as present here in this space, and I am switching back to focusing over here now. But we have survived our federal fiscal situations thus far. There's legislation pushing to reauthorize the Lake Champlain Basin Program and increase our appropriation. or at least the authorization for a program up to 35 million annually. We are working on finalizing species profile lists for the 51 known non-native and invasives in Lake Champlain to be loaded into a mirror database to GLANCIS, which is the Great Lakes Aquatic Non-Indigenous Species Information System. We will call the new one LANCIS, or I don't know, Lake Champlain ANSIS. So we'll be excited to share that once that gets up and running for Lake Champlain. We've closed out our 18th year of boat launch stewardship on Lake Champlain and are very engaged and involved in helping to support Vermont DEC in particular and anything they need with focus on wake boat regulations and the need for statewide strategically placed decontamination stations for motorized watercraft. And then we are trying to fill the gap in water chestnut management funding. The Army Corps was zeroed out in fiscal year 25. So Kim's program for doing water chestnut management on Lake Champlain and inland water bodies was at zero. And the Lake Champlain Basin program was able to put 500,000 into that. And we may do it again in 2026 for 2027 if that funding is not restored. But that's a big battle we can't stand to lose. And then more recently, very involved in funding and looking at a lot of the New York Hemlock Woolly Adelgid Initiative work and response in the Lake George watershed, which is dominated by hemlock and very steep slopes. And that has impacts to some of the recent detections along the shores of Lake Champlain. So trying to look at some research there. And then we have a whole lot of other implementation and research work, but that I think is sufficient for now.
Wow, you
Yeah.
aren't kidding. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, it's the interstate and international. It's the awesomeness of where we are geographically. It's pretty great.
That's awesome.
So Meg, you missed a point that Grace was mentioning earlier about native plants and native
Yeah.
seed stock. So Grace, if you wouldn't mind just kind of recapping that for Meg.
Yeah,
Great.
hi Meg.
Hi.
I was talking about how awesome it is that you all have a grant program for native tree nurseries and
Yeah.
and sort of envisioning someday having a similar thing for herbaceous species and native grasses and so that we can have more of a supply for native seed mixes for restoration projects, soil stabilization projects, and so on. And we've had a lot of interest recently within ANR from the deputy secretary, from some of the legislators, in maybe coming up with some sort of program through the Agency of Ag, perhaps, to provide funding for, sort of like there's the Young Farmers Program that, they have workshops and they have funding. It would be something like that. So look for that, and it's sort of in the visioning phase right now.
That's great. I don't want to mess up the language here. It's the Watershed Forestry Partnership, right? That has been collectively working together. And so what we do with the tree nursery funding, and this is Bill/IJA funding, we've released 3 rounds. The first round ended up being like close to 1.8 million. The second round was about 1.3 million. The third round about 1 million. And we are going to do one more round before our IJA funds dry up. But really working on getting those groups together and collaborating and understanding what species needs there are. And there's a lot of really cool work going on for geographic specific spaces based on slope and soils and coming up with different native seed mixes, primarily for riparian restoration projects. So that would be really cool to see that mirrored for herbaceous species. That would be super neat. And probably some of these tree nursery farms could be engaged and involved in that. There's one other thing I should have mentioned, which is because I live and breathe Round Goby all the time. We have entered into our second contract with the Army Corps of Engineers to optimize an invasive species all-taxa spread prevention alternative for the Champlain Canal. With New York State DEC in partnership with NYPA Canals and the Army Corps and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So that's probably going to be another 3 years that we're dedicating to doing more hydrology, NEPA process, but ending up with a 30% design that can tell us how much money and what the solution would be to go seek those funds. And concurrently, we're working with Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada and the Ministry of Environment and other local folks in Quebec on solutions for the Chambly Canal to our north.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Bonnie, you want to go?
Sure. So we have been up to some exciting, I think, things at VTrans. To step back a little bit, we provided feedback on the new regulated introduced plant species rule, and from that, we decided that we need to update our BMPs, which haven't been updated actually since the last time the rule was updated. So they must just like naturally go together. And so a few of us realized that in order to create new BMPs, it would be really useful to come together across the many disciplines, I guess, or areas of expertise at VTrans, to come up with like an overall vision for how we want to address introduced plant pests. So Noah was awesome and helped us plan for like how many months? At least 2 months of planning went into 2 internal sessions that we had in January. And so we had people from maintenance and construction and environmental and design all come together, including Noah. And it was like really awesome. It actually sort of felt like we came, and I don't know how Noah feels about this, but like the feeling that we got after the SISMA meeting last year, when everyone started with like the word, you put your word on the board and they were all very anxious words. But then by the end of the session, people put up new words and it was like all about connection and like hope and positivity. That sort of felt like, I felt like there was that was the vibe. Noah, you came unmuted. Do you want to say something?
I was just gonna say it was a cool experience. VTrans is really great, and you guys have these great like facilitators whose job it is to pull people together and help the organization workshop ideas and create a structured way to have conversations. And it's really neat. So it was a good experience. Thanks for including me.
Thanks for being a part of it, Noah. Part of so like we did come out of we had some ideas come out of it. We're going to jump right into updating a BMP and trying to do some other things and get everyone on the same page with our approach. But one part of this also that we decided when we were planning the sessions were to make this language shift away from invasive species. And I think maybe at our last meeting, the VIEPAC meeting, I might have heard someone use introduced plant pest, and I sort of like grabbed that. And we just decided to start using that as how we're going to refer to invasive species. So we shortened it to IPP. And I think it's still sort of, in process. But the facilitators were like, we just need to model it. Like, let's introduce it briefly at the beginning when we're like introducing what we're doing, but like, we're just going to start using this language. And we did. And I felt like it was really pretty seamless. And people who, I think it was their first time even being introduced to the concept of switching the name, just like adopted IPP, like naturally. I think there were maybe a couple comments of like, could there be a better acronym? that'd be easier to say or something, you know. But the group just sort of, I don't know, I think in part it was like, it was not just about the name change, but like about coming together around a really difficult topic and trying to like look forward about how we can realistically make a difference. Like those, it just sort of created this open environment, I think, and there has not been like, yeah, we were talking about spec language today in a separate meeting, and it's just, we're like just changing the name. It's just like surprising, and I thought it was great. And is there something else I wanted to say? Oh, also saying that the new regulated introduced, or the new rule is, since that's coming, that also sort of gives, I think, permission to everyone, or gives like a, I mean, not permission, but it helps to be like, change is coming. We're gonna change with it. And so, yeah, I think it went really well. If there are any questions, I can answer, but that's what we've been up to.
That's awesome. That's really good to hear. Makes complete sense to me, but it's really neat to hear that that's your experience. And just along those lines, we're hoping to have that meeting again this spring. So
Cool.
we're in the process of organizing that. But before Ag chimes in, Mike, I see that you joined. Are you in a place where you want to chime in and give us an update?
That's Mike giving an update.
Oh, that's Mike's update?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
He said earlier he had bad reception at King Arthur.
Let's read. Can somebody read?
Stilt grass is a disaster. Connecticut, Maine, Pennsylvania, Maryland. Glad that Corey Ross is a great crew, knows the approach down in Wyndham County Conservation District, who also works on stuff with my organization. As for me, still all are about the vines. Saw Duncan Murdoch this weekend. He reports interesting successes, results with knotweed control and interval. I asked him to prep me a weed summary report.
Thank you, Mike. Got it. Okay. Okay, from Ag's end, the biggest thing is that we went through ICAR, and we had actually a wonderful experience with the ICAR folks, and Bonnie and her team actually showed up as like cheerleaders almost, which was great. But again, kind of along the same lines that Bonnie was talking about, we just updated the interagency committee on reviewing these rules. Nobody batted an eye, and we just explained what the change is, the rationale. And it was so smooth. We only got props for it. So there is a hunger from other agencies and people who aren't even in this realm, who listen, and you can see a softening and a nodding of heads of like, yes, of course, this makes sense. So all that to be said, we are past ICAR now. We are making very minor changes. There weren't any significant changes. And once that goes through, we'll set up public meetings, and then it goes through LCAR. And our hope is that it is an actual rule by this summer. So we are moving forward on that. And I think it's a big deal for us. So we should be proud of Vermont. Let's see, what else? Do we have other things? Judy and Ben also did an amazing talk last week at VNLA. So just want to highlight that it's unfortunate that the VNLA is not here, but we are actually in the new rule structure. It's not going to be an appointed committee anymore. So what our plan is to open it up a little bit more so that we can actually dip into the pool of experts more readily and without these stupid limitations. So that's exciting. And along those lines, the nursery industry, we're hoping to get a lot more engagement from them as well. So
is that changed in the rule too, how the committee is formed?
the committee, yeah, it doesn't, it says that it doesn't need to be appointed
Okay.
and that it's going to function more like a SAG, an advisory group committee. Everybody here is obviously on it. And then we have the ability to expand and include now, which is great.
Which is funny because that's what we were originally intending it to be.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Yes.
Things come round.
They do. They do if you wait long enough. They do. So, yeah, a lot of patience. So, Judy,
Cool.
yeah, do you have anything that you want to report back?
No, I'm on the Eastern Plant Board. I'm the vice president now, so that puts me on the National Plant Board. So we've just been looking at a lot of national pest issues. And we're looking at plant protection and quarantine, which are our federal plant health partners, moving more towards deregulation. So our focus isn't so much on management as how we convince all 50 states to coordinate their regulatory efforts so industry doesn't have to deal with 50 different regulations every time there's a new pest. And I'm unfortunately on the committee that's going to try to solve that problem. But we'll probably do some kind of certification, but it's not really pertinent to Vermont specifics. So that opportunity to mention.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a point with the with UMass climate change, the risk
The risk.
program, because they saw that, all the different states have different regulations and way that we list them, and they were trying to basically combine all of the efforts and federally make some changes.
Right.
So I think that's on the same
Right.
kind of ballpark as what they were trying to do and initiated.
Yeah, and we have some ties with them, and so National Plant Board has a list of all the state's regulations posted up there, but it's a real pain to go through. There is a nursery in Vermont that went through all 50 states to look at their soil regulations, bless their heart. But UMass is trying to, and we are trying to work with them to create a structure where we could have those regulations indexed and searchable better so that people, nursery owners could just look and say, search like not leafed or whatever.
Through risk.
Well,
Through the
through
UMass
like
risk.
our database,
Ah,
because we have some of our material. But states would have to break it out, so it's not going to happen anytime soon.
I thought they also lost their funding too.
They probably did. It was
Risk.
a massacre.
Risk, yeah.
But lots of people did. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like everything got knocked down and you're just waiting to see what's left standing.
But they do have a good, strong foundation, so that's hopeful that they can receive funds in the future. Do you have anything you want to add?
Not at the moment for general updates, but we can actually dive into our your stuff you want now. Okay, so yeah, so everybody had their PRA assignments, which is mostly just finalizing the ones that we already had kind of created. Most of our technicians, but other people contributed, and some were old, had built on an older foundation. But I didn't necessarily want to like go through each individual one. But if someone has revelations that they found out and when they're working on them, then feel free to share. But I just wanted I listed like, what's there, 5 or so here species that some of which we had already kind of voted to recommend, but ones that we might just garner more discussion. So we can just maybe run through those, and then whoever was kind of assigned can jump in. Let's see here. First one I have listed, hook hair hops, which we did vote to recommend last time. I guess I don't really have any revelations about that one. I mean, I added the map to the folder with that one. And then
Who was on that one to update?
that
it?
was me.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
That's an easy one then.
Which is, yeah, I guess. Fairly straightforward. I think, yeah, we already voted. Right. Yeah.
I just wanted to add a point, I guess, since I've, went through not one that's on this list. That I found some information that was lacking, at least on mine. And also using the scientific names prolifically, I think is very important because I know that I made an assumption that a lot of us kind of know scientific terminology, and I apologize for that. I guess I was just used to the former group that, is more scientific people, and I apologize again for that. So I think just moving forward with really using the scientific terms and names is important. It also, I think, alludes to some of this disparaging language that we're trying to get rid of too, because sometimes the scientific name is actually more appropriate to use. And so I just wanted to point that out. And also, common names are often, common names of other plants. So just making sure that we're all on the same page as far as the scientific integrity of the naming of the plants, and then just making sure that all of the sources that could potentially be utilized are reviewed and added on to the references section. So not just links, but actual the entire name of whatever that source is, because links are and can change within a few years. So let's make sure that we can gather the links and the resources appropriately, at least in the very last box.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we should start a library where we download stuff, but I don't know. There's always going to be a ton of information about these species, so.
Yeah, so I did download or upload, downloaded and then uploaded the old PRAs onto this folder. And so you could
Great.
get the old PRAs from the former organization. And then, yes, maybe with the new format that we can grab all those resources that we use, any publications, because publications will come and go. So we want to capture them. And so if there's ever a question like, what do you mean about this species being the most terrible or something, like, we can actually know what that resource is. I think that's just good professional integrity.
Can I ask a question? What's the lifeline? What, like, after the species are added to the list or not, what happens to the PRA? Is like the PRA really just useful for that, and then it's kind of like it doesn't matter? Because in that case, maybe we wouldn't need to go to the trouble of downloading all the resources if it's really just supposed to be used for the decision to put it on the list or not. That if it's supposed to be a long, lifelong document or something, then maybe that's different.
No, they're not public.
Should they be public?
I think other states have them public. I don't know if ours should be public. I think that's a committee decision. I think I know that I've gone back through the old PRAs and checked certain aspects, such as management practices, locations when they were first found, that kind of information. And in some cases, how I think it's very helpful with the outreach component. So right now, this committee doesn't have an outreach responsibility, but I do a lot of outreach in my program. So I think, knowing that my facts are straight and knowing that the information is correct when I'm providing the information is very helpful for me to go back to those resources and find out how and when and where these species were first found and managed, and if they were at all. So that's why I think,
Legal standpoint, I would think that one of the purposes of these documents is that if we're ever questioned by the public or FOIA'd or something, we're gonna need to point to the methodology that we used to.
Definitely a big
Right.
CYA,
We
yeah.
operate at the Park Service as if everything that we do is public information. And I think you have a really good point about, obviously peer reviewed literature is the best thing to tie. And it's something that people can always access over time typically. So if there is something that's referenced in an article and it can be distilled down to a number of papers, we should absolutely probably be doing that, which takes a lot of work.
Mhm.
And storage space, but.
Yeah.
Support.
Yeah.
With like it being either a living, I like the idea of PRA being a living document, but then if it's constantly being updated, like I guess we just have different versions of it. So if we were like, why did you decide to recommend it at this date versus like, there are all the things that have changed over that time. So if we're
We could do
updating, like,
versions.
Yeah.
Version
True,
control,
yeah,
so if you
original.
update it, you just go to the next one.
Yeah, just every year.
I mean, it'd be nice if it automatically did that, some.
It's not,
I think some programs. But so I made the mistake of updating or editing the one that's in the folder. And then I didn't make another copy, so apologies that I didn't save the first document. But yeah, I think for purposes of litigation, since we are involved in so many, that it would be important to kind of note where the information came from. And because it is truly like a scientific publication that we're creating with these PRAs.
Yep. I mean, we shouldn't be listing them unless we have a good reason to.
Right.
Yep.
And that also gets back to some of the, potential fact sheets, making sure that the fact sheets that we are using for a reference is also fact checked too. So making sure that we have our bases covered. So those are my comments.
Yeah, I think when I was sitting down to do, like I started the PRA on Japanese tree lilac. It's tricky because there's a lot of information out there and there's different states that maybe made a different decision than you would have made at a different time. And so they can pull those back up and say, well, this state did this. Why are you thinking it's a big issue? And finding those, sometimes peer reviewed literature is really hard to find because some of the information is anecdotal. And I think we want to be able to act before something becomes a major issue. But I think those are all important things to consider.
Yeah, so I know that some of these PRAs don't have that, so I don't know if we want to take time, since some of us were on breaks and vacation, maybe, taking another look at them.
You don't have full references.
Full references.
yeah, I think that's, they, well, and if they are kind of living documents, I think that, we can continue to affect them, would be great.
And then I think it might be valuable just to have like a document that states how we go about doing that. So that everyone's on the same page, particularly that other people are breaking off and tackling PRs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we brought that up at the last meeting. It's like what is the process for listing these? And so I think I shared the meeting minutes from the former organization that we had like a flow chart, kind of, not a flow chart, but a pattern procedures that were written out.
We should use that. I mean, you've spent a lot of time on that. So we can take a look at that for the next meeting and see what we can build off of.
Yeah, I think that'd be super.
Yeah.
And then how basically we fill out the PRAs too. And then my last comment on PRAs is we're missing information on where they are in the rest of the country. So I think we have like one statement, but it would be helpful to know
What do you mean?
the extent of the populations throughout the country.
Oh,
We ask if they're listed in other states, but we don't ask the extent of the populations in other
Is
states.
that a little beyond our scope though?
I think it's helpful to know, especially with this Nalumbo conversation that we may have soon, if we get, if I stop talking.
I mean, maybe we can, because that's a lot of work to update, to keep updated. I wonder if we could just reference a link to somebody else who's managing a map.
Yeah, I think we can, but we don't specifically call it out in the PRA. So it's just like, what is the geographic distribution of this plant now in the country?
Would we want to limit it to the states that border the United States or the United States?
Yeah, yeah, or, yeah, the country in Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd limited to neighboring abutting. I don't know.
Yeah.
That just feels like, to me, sorry, Kim,
Yeah.
and I agree with what you're saying. I understand it. I just feel like these are so hard for me to, they're so time consuming to produce. That the more we can limit the scope to the minimum, the happier I am. But
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm trying to figure out a way that we could accommodate those needs. That's why I was hoping, like, if we could find a link, some website that manages that, then we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I know there is one for aquatics. I don't know about terrestrials.
It's often species specific. And
Yeah.
It depends on its status.
Yeah. So I think, I'm just saying if there is information, because there could be also a species that's southern that is now showing up in the north.
Yep.
And so that's what's happening with hydrilla. That's what's happening with a lot of,
Right. No, totally.
yeah, change. So I think we should understand what the breadth and scope is throughout the country and how it's perhaps moving north due to climate change. So risk is doing a lot of that. And I think risk may also have those maps already.
Right.
I was going to jump in here because I talked to someone from USGS in Colorado who manages the Inhabit map. I don't know if you guys, if you just Google USGS Inhabit, it's a map that's meant to, they take data from IMAP, invasives, and EDD maps, and all these various, and iNaturalist. They kind of take all this data and put it together, and they, if you go to that website, it's a little, yeah, if you find the map, it shows like risk areas, and it's kind of it could be a way of like, just, you know, getting some good data about the risk of a species, you know, getting into an area, an area and having an impact, you know, in one place. It's just terrestrials. And, you know, I don't know that much about it, but I don't know. I taught that they do outreach, they give presentations, you know, like it's possible someone from so the person who manages the map could even like come to one of these meetings and, you know, and just do a quick presentation and like, here's how an organization can use this to assess risk. And I know that their aim is to get data from all these different places. So it's not like super specific, it's more general. What's the likelihood that this species is going to get established and have an impact in an area? So I don't know if that sounds interesting to people, just keep it in mind. I could reach out to my contact there unless other people know more about this than I do.
Well, Katie
I'd say-
just put a link in there. Is that the one that you're referencing? Noah, Katie's link?
The Inhabit tool.
Do you know what the Wi-Fi password is?
Okay, cool. I've never seen that. That's great.
Yes.
So Kim,
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
Ian Finkston
that's
and
it. Yeah.
Wes Daniel and all those folks from that we're pretty plugged in with through the Northeast Aquatic Nuisance Species Panel could definitely present on this.
Yeah.
But I don't know
so
who your
that's the
contracts are,
aquatic.
Noah.
Yeah, those are the aquatics, but the terrestrial, I think, is what Katie included and Noah are talking about. Katie?
Yeah, Kim, jumping back a couple steps here in this conversation, for consistency's sake, I just wanted to share on the like citing your sources conversation that what we did on the PRAs that we looked over, Bonnie and I, was like any statements that were made since we didn't write these. I looked back and like looked for the source of where that information came from. Didn't take that long. A bunch of them were listed, but then I put them in each section where that information was written and then put the source under it. Because if it's just a bunch of sources at the end and it's not cited like what exactly they're referring to, then that gets kind of cumbersome to go back. I don't personally feel like we need to download everything and keep that in a folder, but just to treat this like citing your sources like normal. That was kind of how we approached it.
Right, yeah, I agree. I think putting the sources in the boxes for which we are talking about them is also very helpful. I just like to download sources, so, but I hear you. It could get cumbersome.
Yeah, it seems like it wouldn't be, given all these resources we have, it wouldn't be too hard to have a snapshot map of the distribution of US of these just for. And then I was.
Can we make sure they're
Dated
dated?
is a good
Yeah,
idea.
for sure.
Dated. Yeah.
Same with the Vermont distribution. I mean, I've been downloading the data from iNaturalist for the locations. Obviously that's not perfect. I, trying to vet it best I can. It obviously doesn't have every single location there. I mean, I think it's, it's a good resource, but, it's kind of the best unless we have, some of these, like I've, have personally found porcelainberry in like a location and market, but, yeah, building onto it. I mean, it's just another thing to have in the appendix for these.
Yeah, and I think we're lucky because the NAS, USGS NAS, North America Aquatics, it's not just whatever the NAS stands for. Thanks, Meg, for bringing that up. It's really helpful because it does note it, and then we provide our information to NAS too. So it's pretty update for the aquatics. So I will always include the aquatics maps into it. But it's great to have a terrestrial map as well. Thanks, Katie and Noah, for bringing that source up.
Mhm.
And I think USDA plants, it's not as updated, I have found.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge, is where do you find information that's credible in the same space, I just agree with what you're saying, and I think it's good to scrutinize your own sources before you kind of publish these or put them forward. And I think the best people to do that are going to be people who are in the science community, because they're used to that process. They understand what holds up under peer review. And I think we just want to operate in as if that's the level of scrutiny we're going to be under. Sometimes there's not. I mean, sometimes you are basing it on critical observation.
Yeah, so that's why. Oh, go ahead, Bonnie.
Well, I would say if that is the case, I think I have personally taken my involvement with the PRA as far as I could. And so I'd be glad to pass it to a scientist to make it,
I think
And
that's
I don't
really
know.
important to name. Thank you, Bonnie, actually, for just flagging that, because it doesn't
Mhm.
diminish what you are contributing to at all. It's
Right.
just identifying each of our roles. So I just really appreciate you identifying, yeah, that's your limit, and that doesn't mean that you're less than in any way.
Yeah.
But maybe that's one way that we could all chip in more. If people aren't as comfortable doing it, taking to that, then let's do some of the more foundational work and pass it to the people who are comfortable doing the reviews. But thank you. That's actually a really important layer there that we don't talk about.
Cool. Thank you.
I think you're right. I mean, like it doesn't mean that, I don't think it means the scientist has to write everything. It's just that one part with the sources, making sure they're cited properly in a way that lasts over time, because a lot of us, I think, know these are problem plants and there's a lot of information out there.
Yeah, and I think maybe having a subcommittee of folks who are uh, willing and able to kind of know that, because even just going through mine, there's a lot of scientific terms that weren't utilized that could be utilized, or were helpful for me to know that we're missing, or, so there's just a level, I think, of information that I think would be appropriate to incorporate into the PRAs, especially if we're going to be sharing these with, or, providing these to nursery landscape folks.
Yeah, and I think it becomes a collective issue and we all carry the burden of it when we all chip in, and I think that is the key. It suddenly makes it a little bit lighter. It's a pain, it's like, let's face it, it's like pulling teeth. It's not fun and it's really important. And as we start having the ability to add to the list now without having opened the rule, we're going to have to actually do the work if we want to have species listed. So, expanding how we've done it in a way that is more tailored toward each of our strengths. Maybe that's one way to make it easier for all of us.
Yeah, and then also like choosing other things rather than just keep putting species on the list. Let's start to do more education outreach. Let's change or add more responsibilities to this committee if we are able to.
We can explore all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful because, as I was sitting down to write this one PRA, I was like, I want someone with like PhD level skills to get eyes on this and to look it over and to make sure that these are all, and I work in the sciences, but I still, when you're publishing something at that level, it's good to have.
True. Yeah, I don't want that to stand in the way. I mean, we have, yeah, no, we definitely, I think being consistent and having we obviously have a template, but almost like botanical stuff, you could almost just make it like a table rather than like, just a paragraph, because you could just say like, and then, because some of the stuff can just be kind of like copy and paste from like, all the botany resources, Grace, just copy and pasted over to it. But then like, the other stuff, even just having it more defined, because there are, we have to be able to go through, I think, there's so many plants that are coming potentially down the pike, and I have this, which I'll talk about a little bit later, like this sort of tentative watch list that I've been working on, and it's now at like 350 species. So it's, it's significant, and so I don't want to get bogged down in, too much stuff. But.
And we also don't want to bog down the public on 350 species either.
Exactly,
So we have to choose what is really important and imperative to utilize. And I think, eventually looking at the risk list too would be helpful due to climate change. How are those species moving north, and utilizing other parameters to help us make these decisions, and the list that other states are using too. So we're all on the same page.
Right, and the other thing about multiple listings is the nursery trade, like what number can they assimilate and functionally work with? Maybe we can't give them a shorter list, but try to find some way to help them maybe categorize it in some way.
I mean, we could figure out a way to curate that watch list into like a way that's more easy for the public to access.
Or maybe give it a rankings or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did maybe.
Yeah.
Was it early in the winter? Maybe sent out something that was like, I highlighted maybe 10 species that were on our list currently that are maybe in the trade, and saying, these are ones you don't want to order this year. So we can continue to highlight and outreach.
Yeah, and I think to your and Kim points about outreach, we could also do that at the VNLA meetings. We could just do a quick show and tell, like, hey, these are what we think are coming next.
You think like VT invasives would be willing to host some of those warning or those early detection species?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what the role is.
That's a great resource. I mean, a lot of people.
Actually, Noah and Kim, would one of you be willing to give a little bit of an update about the VT invasive stuff, since you both are managers of it? Just,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I could just, I won't talk too much, Kim, so you could chime in also. Uh, Gwen Kozlowski, who works for UVM Extension, is managing. They were awarded grant money to redevelop the website. So we're in the process right now of working with the Tamarack Media Collaborative to redesign the website, which will involve a new name. We're not quite sure what it is, a better user interface, easier and more mobile friendly reporting tools, better and more more like visually engaging identification information for species, just a better resource all around. And yeah, more like desktop and mobile friendly, and more less repetitive information. So like having like a management section that addresses the use of pesticides as opposed to kind of repeating the same cautions on every species page, things like that. Just kind of cleaning it up and making it's already just like worlds ahead, the stuff they've proposed to us. So and Gwen has put in a lot of time also on sort of brainstorming and coming up with the framework for the new design.
That's awesome. Noah and Kim, just to give you two shout outs, they have been the drivers with Gwen on moving this forward for the past how long? 7, 8 months?
Yeah, I think we started like a year
Okay,
ago.
yeah.
So I think it's going to be a fabulous revision, and I'm looking forward to making it more user friendly. And I think there is a lot of connections between this group and that webpage. And yeah, I think with the former group, we definitely use that tool as the outreach tool for this committee. And so I see us interconnecting even better with the future, with a web page and how we use it as an outreach tool.
And the general deadline is by the end of 2026. Is that the goal, or just in terms of the timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah, end of 2026 for sure. Like it has to be done.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep.
And one thing we've talked about is having like a sort of a more of a better like campaigns outreach part of the website, so that if there are specific campaigns like species to be on the lookout for, whether it's in nurseries or something that's getting spread through recreation, boating, hiking, something like that, just to kind of make that those resources just sort of, I'm not a web designer, but just make it sort of pop more, make it more easier to kind of push things out and highlight them. So yeah, like Gwen said, a lot of opportunity there for this group to interact with that website and do education through it.
Thank you.
And I actually, Gwen and I are the two people that edit the website. So I'm like, just, yeah, anyway. So I'm also just like, I could just like put something on the website too, something comes out of this meeting that's like, oh gosh, we need to let people know about this. Like, I'm a resource just to sort of, that ties directly into that website.
Yeah, and I have editing abilities too. I just don't have time.
Oh, you do? Cool. Yeah, great. Well, yeah. So
don't
the
ask
team,
me to change anything on the website.
we're sort of, yeah, 2 out of 3 people on the VT Invasive team are here. So anyway, just consider that an accessible resource, I guess. Yeah.
That's really important.
So we kind of just maybe briefly go through the other remaining ones that I highlighted. I just want to mention, I think, and we could, I don't even know, maybe do a vote, but the amber cork tree, one, which I don't think was one of my assigned ones, but I will mention that at the BNLA meeting, last week, Tim Parsons from Middlebury, he highly recommended that we should, take action on the amber cork tree, because of its, impact in the Middlebury campus and elsewhere. And it didn't seem like that tree is really being actively sold in the nursery industry, so I wanted to check about that. So that one I do feel comfortable, moving forward with, but, who was the one who did?
I did review it and we
Okay.
made some edits, but not anything major.
Do we want to vote on it? Is this, yeah, are people did we already?
No, I was just gonna say, I changed, this is not really a huge deal, but I did change, it asks, is this expanding or stable and in Vermont? And I did change that to expanding because this is a
Okay.
piece that just showed up like 3 years ago and now we have all these populations, so
Hmm.
you can expect it to continue to expand. So I just changed the form
Yeah,
to
that's
sort of
great.
like that. It said stable or something.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard to know, and these were mostly done by our technicians who may not have had like
Yeah.
I mean, you can maybe know on a nationwide basis from other states, but we have to talk to you or just, anecdotal people in the fields to know if we actually
Yeah.
are seeing it spread around.
So just seeing the source list, they're only links, so I would like to see that. What the sources are.
So we'll update the sources on Amber
Amber
Cork Maple, and
Yeah.
then with the goal of voting on it next time, officially, maybe? Just review,
Should we all make sure that we review it?
yeah, probably,
Yeah.
it's a pretty good idea. So once we, maybe get those, figured out, we'll send the updated ones out for people's review.
Yeah, or just keep them in the folder that we must work on you.
Yeah.
Is everybody
I will have-
able to access the folder?
Katie Kane cannot.
I
We know
cannot.
Katie Kane has been locked out of the system. I don't know,
I'm
Katie.
banned.
I think, yeah, you're the only one. I'm so sorry.
It's something with
Yes,
Fish and
of course
Wildlife.
we did.
What about,
know.
the gal that works with, Green Mountain?
That's it.
Melissa?
Yeah.
Yep, I
Melissa?
can get in. Yep.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just a.
Katie, it's on your end. I think it's
No,
gotta be on your end.
It is on my end. It's something with Fish and Wildlife, and it's been an issue with other state partners too. I don't know. It's like some internal fire. It just like, it doesn't work. So if you can send the documents to me, I would appreciate it.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry that you can't get in.
But other folks other than Katie can all get in. That's cool. That's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that works, and having everything just kept in there, like the main version that we're working on. We can always make archive folders, but just having so many versions floating around is confusing, so I'm glad that.
Yeah.
One central hub.
So once it is finalized, then we'll go back in this folder and, something that we can all look at.
Yeah.
We could even have like a finalized version folder, and then if we ever were to.
Right, like
More
drafts and
accessible.
finals, yeah.
So, I'm trying to see how I put the archives in. I think I would have had to make a folder for every species, so I did not do that.
I can still
About
access.
Yeah, I think everybody can, but I put them in this
Yeah,
new
no, no.
folder.
I know you said that, but I was
Yeah.
just saying.
The all states, or ones from the ones we already like to run with.
Yeah, so the archive folder has all the older PRAs. And some were listed separately and some are listed in a folder because I did it at night and I didn't have time to separate them all out into new folders. I just wanted to get them up.
Was that uploading or downloading, Kim?
Uploaded and downloaded.
Okay.
I had to upload them from the one site and then download them to the site. Wait, no, it's download then upload. Of my brain. So I think it would be good to have just a folder for each species. That way the maps and your presentations and everything's in there. Yeah.
All right, well, then let's maybe you can talk about reed canary grass for a minute here, because there are some folks, we're gonna follow up about that. Grace. And.
So it's good when somebody like owns it themselves.
Right, she had three.
I was supposed to I checked in with Heather Darby and Sean Lewis, the agronomists. And they said it's common, very common. They don't know, it's usually in mixed fields.
So
Wait, you checked in with
yeah.
Heather Darby and who else?
And Sean Lewis, who's the agronomist in Addison County, and I forwarded their responses to Emily.
Okay, thanks.
When you say all over, you mean like, is it just existing in fields or is it actually being planted in mixes?
I think it's being planted. It's in mixes. It might be in mixes, but I did that right after last meeting, so I kind of have forgotten.
Thanks for doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it was inadvertently in some of our seed mixes on log landings. And I found it there after we had spent like years pulling wild chervil on that road. And I was like, what is this doing here? So like I've tried to stop that, but I know that it's probably quite common in reseeding mixes.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the internet on the shopping page. Crazy. Reed canary grass.
Well, it was used initially as a seed source.
Here's what Heather said. Said how widespread is it? She said, not really sure, to be honest, but there's lots of reed canary on wet soil in Champlain Valley, trace clay. Generally a mix, not pure stands. Yeah, she said it's actually still quite common, believe it or not. I would say a lot of people have made changes to tall fescue, but reed canary is still widely used.
Oh, the native canary grass. Yeah, that's the thing that's tricky about it. I went through this whole thing with the regional wetlands person at the National Park Service about reed canary grass and the different nuances there with how it was like a native and now there's a new genotype in there.
There's no morphological difference between the native races and the introduced races. And now they're all interbreeding, intermixing, and that's where like hybrid vigor, it's sort of like that there's that invasiveness is because of the novel genetic combinations that have happened. So yeah, there's no separating them out. And I don't know that we have like populations that we think are native, there's nobody's identified those. Everything that they've looked at UVM has turned out to have European genetics in it. So there's nothing conservation concern, in other words.
So that's another box that I'd like included on these PRAs is what is the native counterpart? Or is it hybridizing? Or, I think that's missing from these PRAs.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
The hybridizations are really, I think, important things.
Yeah. So maybe if we can include that in other or all the way down or something. What is the native components or similar species or hybrid, blah, blah. Additional comments maybe.
So how do we actually address the reed canary grass in terms of regulation, or is it not really one that makes sense to do that with? Or like having it
Seeds.
be,
Yeah.
yeah, I think, but I mean, like,
You could just treat it all as
all is.
non-native.
Yeah,
If you can't tell, then yeah, I mean, that would be the smart thing. I don't know. It's, what I don't know is what would the pushback be from farmers? Like, I am curious about that. Just naming, okay, if it's actually in seed mixes, it's being sold, how are people using it and depending on it? At least understanding if people are purposely and intentionally planting it, why? So that we can understand. But I think the only way to do that would be to just put a no-go on any sort of seed.
It's gonna be hard if it's all over eBay, like.
Yeah, there's Pepsi.
There's always going to
I
be
mean,
people that are,
Yeah.
yeah, that are ordering stuff right now.
Yeah, those are harder to regulate because you have to contact individual sellers.
Well, I mean, I think that's the reality that we just face is, yeah, we can't do everything. There are a lot of holes in enforcement, and unfortunately, that is the reality. And when we find out if there's a way we can close a loophole, we try that. But I think in this day and age, especially with hearing about how Amazon, that whole thing went, there's really no accountability online. And that's just the way it is right now.
So does this group regulate seeds too? Right, do we regulate the nurseries that, like what? Because they sell seeds in
Well,
nursery.
Seeds
Yeah.
is luckily not in plant health.
Although but we are related to it, and we work the seed program. Do we even have a seed program?
We do it, yeah, in plant industry. This rule it covers any crop fuel or plant part of these other than like dead, processed supplement or something, that's non-viable. So seeds would be included in that, in terms of that regulation, but I mean, we have to work with the seed.
Yeah.
Certification.
I think it would be important to understand what the impact would be of saying, like, what would happen if we said no reed canary grass seed sold? Is it even possible to separate them from these mixes at this point? Okay.
Yeah, there's a few, and also Mike has a comment.
Go for it, Katie.
Yeah, I did reach out to a couple of other states that have reed canary on their do not sell list just to hear how they're handling this. And the horticulturalist in Maine, was like, yeah, it's on the list. Like, we're not going to every farm and saying, hey, you have reed canary grass on your farm, you need to deal with that. But it is on their do not sell list. They said nobody has called them and complained about it. Massachusetts said the same thing, that it's on their do not sell list, and Mass does go through and they will give ag exemptions if enough of a case is made for like calorie pear. Apparently that's a big thing that people are using it for rootstock. So they granted an ag exemption for that. They said nobody has contacted them about reed canary grass. They don't have an exemption for it, and it's on their do not sell list. So I feel like the horse is already out of the barn in terms of it's on ag sites for sure. It's being utilized. I know it's an important operation of part of, a lot of farms, like having a grass that greens up that early in the season. I don't know how much it's being purchased. I feel like the main strength in listing it is like for development projects or something like that, to compel somebody to deal with it if it's on a site that's going to be disturbed. Not like, I don't think that our intention is to go after farmers. But I guess I'd put it before the group if there's been any talk about an ag exemption or what that would look like.
Well, I'm just thinking, Katie, I remember you telling me, I think during one of our conversations, you were talking, to the farmer, and they didn't realize that they were actually the ones, just seeding it out there as well. So part of it is also, I think, outreach and education. People may not realize that these seed mixes contain it. And if we highlight that, people may make just a different choice based on the information that they now have access to that they didn't before. So I think there is value in just offering it, because just because it's out in the landscape, why wouldn't we actually do something that just feels yucky?
You probably want to keep it out of wetlands, most importantly. You know, I think the fields are important too, but if people are planting these in wetland areas because it does well there, that would be a big issue.
So you want to say, Judy,
No, I was thinking I should have something totally different. Wasn't planning on talking.
Yeah, Bonnie.
I don't know if this is of use, but we have in the past, we make seed mixes, like propose them with different species. And in the past, we had to make sure that the seed companies would have that they had the right seed mix and that they were not putting in this I forget what the plant was, one species, bird's foot trefoil, which the Army Corps says is invasive, I guess. It's on that list. So we had to educate them too. But back to, I think Emily, you were like, or maybe was it Emily? Someone said, would it be like hard to take them out of the mixes? And I don't think so, because the seed companies, at least in Vermont, there's a few big ones, I think, get the shipments of seeds separately and then they mix them themselves. So it's sort of up to them to put the mixes together. So if the industry, if agriculture didn't want it anymore, they could take it out. But
I mean, I think that's
yeah.
fair. I mean, let's look into that. Why don't we do that as a team? Like, we'll look into what that would take, and we can talk to our colleagues in plant industry who know what that would entail. But then we can report back and let you all know, because I mean, it's helpful that Massachusetts and Maine have it on their lists. Any sort of precedent, it's really easy to just justify it.
I also like the ag exemption, because then if somebody's complaining about it a lot, we can work with them and maybe.
Yeah, let's talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it would, in our rule, we have our tier list, so,
Right,
you know, it'd be on the
2 or
tier
3.
three, whatever
right.
the least controlled,
Right.
one, basically saying it can't be intentionally transported would be the
Right.
main or sold.
Right.
My only question though is actually if it's in hay and you have a lot of seeds ending up in hay, that one in hay is widely transported around. That's my only thought about it, which may would technically be against the rule, be transporting hay with the seed pods in it. So I don't know how that would address that. Or just,
We treat it like knotweed. It happens.
well,
I mean,
yes.
there is like if somebody like calls and reports, we operate off of like complaints. And there may be a complaint about the hay bale with that, and we deal with that. But I think that's an outlier.
Yeah, but we wouldn't, I mean, that's one where you would be intentionally failing the hay with it, telling it, but then,
I think it'd be hard to prove intent,
well,
I mean, I think we'll need to deal with that if it ever comes up, but I think the main thing is to stop, let's
Yeah, we can talk about all
Try to-
the space between
stuff, so.
Yep.
but it is reassuring if other states have not had major pushback against it, then it's,
That's really helpful to know.
and just flagging it, may not be aware of it.
Yeah.
Just like,
Right.
want that in mind, see thing.
I mean, at the very least, it's gonna be on the watch list. Right?
Yeah,
And then we can figure out, maybe next time, we'll come back with more information about that and continue that conversation.
And I think we should try to elevate it to a regulated one, if it is being sold
Yeah.
as it is, you could
Yeah.
just
I agree.
cut off our stores. Thanks for doing all that work, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Digging up this info. And Toby, do you want to follow up with you said ag could do that, check in with Boudreaux?
Yeah, passing the buck.
Yeah, I see that.
Maybe have to chill, like,
It would be the best I thought to, yeah.
To Jill.
Maybe Lisa.
Lisa can tell you.
I mean, talking with one of our soil cons in Middlebury, he had experience with this, and we don't cost share Reed Canary grass, but he has worked with farmers that when he told me that, he said, well, I'm going to do that on my own. So it would seem that it's still out there. I don't know what extent, but could be a little difficult to track, but
Let's go find out information. I'm curious now.
yeah, I do agree that this is a pretty widespread one that's basically everywhere with thousands of acres and places, and I don't know, it's going to be really hard to do much with the regulating movement, I suspect.
So what does success look like for this?
Yeah, that's a question. It's really hard to treat too. I mean, that's the other thing. If you've got like mats of grass in a wetland, that's a really hard pesticide application to pull off.
Oh, yeah, anything wetland.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done anything with that at St. Gaudens because we've got an infestation that's just like that much wetland. It's, a huge intervention with limited chance of success.
Yeah, I think just being able to maybe just limit spread to new locations would be the main goal. Getting out of seed mixes, probably the goal for that one.
Okay, so the next one.
Before we go to our next one.
Yeah.
There's conversations about mapping in the text, in the chat box. Meg mentions the other duties as assigned category. It'd be cool if this committee recommended that multiple VT state agencies use one data reporting and tracking tool. IMAP invasives the other. Also comment he's interested in the idea. Be expensive to purchase. But he'd be interested in talking more. And then Meg mentioned it's not that expensive if we all could go into it together. So I think the former committee had this conversation a few times. I think this committee even had that conversation too. That it's really difficult for all of the agencies to get together on one mapping tool since we all use different mapping tools.
Right, some of which cost money, which is limited.
It would be hard for us agencies to work together with an amount of money to provide. But we can certainly talk about it again.
No harm. How much, actually, when we're talking about it, I realize it's a little bit, what does it's not that expensive mean?
Well, my recollection is I think we thought, is it EDD maps is good and IMAPs, but they cost money and I forget what it was. I'm thinking 4,000.
Yeah, I think it was like 4,000 or 5,000.
It's really not that. Yeah, it's really not that much money. I think the issue is having dedicated staff to help, upload the data to the system and maintain it. But the challenge right now is depending if you're in Fish and Wildlife, if you're in DEC, if you're in VTran, like your data is all in different places. It might be in Excel files, it might be in EdMaps, it might be in who knows. So it's just agreeing to put it all in one place.
Yeah, and I think all of us use the state, well, at least Agency of Natural Resource, we have ArcGIS that we all use. And it's under the ADS, Agency of Digital Services. So the state has its own mapping service. And that's, I think, the hardest kind of thing to get past is that we are all using an interstate mapping tool, but they're not connected.
There was a survey 1, 2, 3 form that everybody could have access to, but then those are automatically uploaded onto an ArcGIS Pro geodatabase. So
Yes, but that won't be shared with other states either.
So we're looking for something public facing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has to be public facing. You can have different ways that you view your data through any of these resources. I think you can have an internal face, you can have an external face. It's mostly
Well, I guess-
coordinating.
Yeah, and I guess it's what's the
And
purpose
at
of
what
it?
resolution?
So
What's the purpose? Because then, like, this group has one picture, right? Instead of like, oh, I have, we just did that with the treatments. Like, okay, so they're private entities, they're state entities, but then what if the feds have federal land and they have treatments on those lands? Then we get that,
You can get that data at student isms in the National Park Service, but then
right,
it would be so much work to try and compile that
Right.
and use it for,
right.
I mean, iNaturalist, that's the great thing about it, is that it's an open
Yeah.
source database that the public can use, and
Right.
it's somewhat peer reviewed, not peer reviewed, but reviewed.
I'm also just thinking, even $4,000 or $5,000, yeah, it's not a lot of money, but as we head into, I don't know, all of a sudden it could become a lot of money. And then if for one reason, for whatever reason, we don't have that money, what happens? Do we it drops and we don't have access to all the work? So so for me, I just can't help but look at the continuity of a program like that. If it costs that much money, even though it's not that much money, long term.
yeah, and I think agency-wide, we can share our data through the ANR Atlas. So I'm working with ADS to put my information on the ANR Atlas. So maybe that's something, we all can attempt to do, even though ADS would probably be like, don't tell that to anybody else.
I mean, it would make sense, yeah. I mean, in ANR, you have a lot more of an infrastructure for this than we do in ag.
Mm.
So
Is that available to the public? Oh, yeah, ANR Atlas is available. And one other issue though is that, introduced species on private property, you need to blur those so that it doesn't devalue the property.
I was gonna say, one of the challenges with this, because this has been sort of in my on back burner or front burner and then back burner again for a long time, is just so I'm trying to do this just within my division at FPR. Like let's have one division at one department, just get our data in the same place, which is pretty challenging because we've traditionally operated across all these districts and we have thousands and thousands and thousands of data points all across FPR managed lands and fish and wildlife areas too. And so it's challenging to figure out, we already have so much data. There's already so much open source data on iNaturalist. There's all this kind of historical data. There's some, and so it's a sort of figuring out what to prioritize, whether it's specific species, specific areas, or how to kind of bin the data, and what level of quality and scale you are trying to achieve. And just like, there's a lot of questions there, and sort of people are collecting the data for different reasons, and getting everyone to actually use the same data set system. I'm interested in this idea, but I can see kind of from people on the ground who are in a position to collect the data, I can see a lot of, I can just see this as needing to be a pretty well thought out process. And I don't know, a colleague of mine said, hey, all the easy things have been done already. So, this one has just been like, a little bit of a head scratcher for a while.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with combining data sources and then the standard operating procedures for collecting that data is all different. So if you got 2 points next to each other, you can't really say definitively, the quality of each point. Because we have a full database at the National Park Service, and there'd probably be very little value in sharing that. I mean, you get really detailed data for 500 acres of state.
Yeah.
Then you'd have to compile that.
Right, but that's where
But
the
we could-
beauty of using something like iNaturalist comes
Yeah.
in, because then you can just dump your data and they deal with it. So it's kind of a mix,
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
They have a pretty low bar, which is helpful, like to me,
Right. Which is a disadvantage too, but if there were a time when we wanted to compile all the data, well, I guess though, if you have thousands of it, one can do bulk uploads.
There's, yeah, I think we'd have to have another conversation about this.
It would be helpful if there were like a national, it depends on the species too, because there are some national programs, but it would just be a matter of getting the data to them. Yeah, you're right. Another
Well, it's
conversation.
like, is the mapping that we're, the priority of the mapping points and stuff, like, is that for species that are already in Vermont, or ones like, we're not gonna have local data for ones that aren't even here yet, obviously. And then, or what about ones that are already listed, but like are expanding or not expanding? It's like, there's.
Well, I was thinking that for like EDRR species.
Yeah.
That if,
I agree.
that to me would be the most helpful if we all pooled our data in one place, so we could say, okay, there are 7 known infestations in the state, there are 300, and that would govern our response.
So start with the ones that actually make sense.
Right, like we remember somebody sent us
Like
a photo,
Stillgrass.
like, yeah, this weird thing showed
Yeah.
up. Okay, and we sent a note to y'all. I don't know if you want to put on iNat or whatever, to just have one.
Yeah, I think for,
Yeah, for our 8 or 10, and like, our.
Personally, I do not like iNaturalists because there are some of the same landowner issues that you were mentioning.
But you can mask it.
Yeah, but then you don't have the.
Oh, the accurate data, yeah. It depends on your scale.
Yeah, I would prefer to use Survey 123. We already use it at Fish and Wildlife for our other, rare plant data and stuff that we're collecting. So it's just easy.
Yeah,
for
I
us,
think we
but-
can, maybe for the individual committee members or organizations, if we can share a way to collect, like, Survey 123 for actually physically collecting data in the field or something.
Right.
That more accessible to other people.
I think we
That
can.
one, but like, we're actually just compiling all the data. I don't know, I mean, short of just having like a giant spreadsheet of data, of latitude, longitude of stuff,
well, maybe we can move forward with the idea of EDR, as you say, like,
Yeah.
we already have that, and I use Survey 123 as well. And I think my partners can use Survey 123, so I think that maybe for EDR purposes, that's our way forward. And maybe we just take it down in smaller chunks
Yeah.
and to, well, what the responsibility or means to use it is.
Do we want to talk about that at the next meeting, is actually how we approach the Survey 123
An EDR, sure,
and EDRR?
yeah.
Well, yeah, so with our new rule, we're gonna have, sort of 3 tiers of species, which I would say, so tier 1 and 2 will be our ADRR type species. Tier 2 would, or tier 1, not in the state yet, tier 2. Sorry, tier 1, not in the state, tier 2 in limited populations, and then so using it for those, and we're not probably gonna be spending our time going around mapping knotweed or buckthorn or something, but for the ones that are limited, makes sense, so.
Yeah, I
And,
think that's, oh, go
I
ahead.
was gonna add, Ben and I piloted this. We created a Survey 123, and so we do have a tool for those tier 2 species. So we are tracking the known locations of the tier 2 species that have been reported, whether it's a nursery inspection that Ben did or a state lands spot that I've done. I mean, it's just internal. It's just this isn't like a public type of database, but we are, it's a pilot project. At least we're tracking. We just started this I guess, a year and a little more than a year ago. So there's like 17 locations on the map. Now, there's not a lot of data there, but we are tracking
Which were
those
the-
species for
Which
now.
were the species? Which species?
Everything that was listed on the
Okay.
plant pest declaration
Oh, okay.
that you guys published a couple of years ago, and then I think we also included some other species that, even though they weren't on that list, we considered them tier 2. Pale swallowwort, yeah, giant hogweed, tree of heaven, yeah, exactly. So, that it's not like an official list, I guess, but it's sort of, I think it kind of reflects more or less tier 2 species. Ben, maybe I'm wrong, but I think so.
No,
That was our idea, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And calling it a pilot project. is kind of important. So something like that, I think, yeah, for our own mapping purposes, but then we still like, how do we actually, apply all that data? Where does it live? But I think, I mean, can it live to some degree in, BT invasives, the shared web page with that?
No, we don't have a mapping capability. I think it could just live in ArcGIS land,
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to see if our partners, because everybody could get it on their phone, that particular app.
But I guess we will have a report it function on the new website.
Yeah.
So I would assume, so.
I don't think the website users would map it through the website, like the mapping wouldn't happen on the website. There could be a link to it, or like right now we link our emerald ash borer maps and the forest pest maps to the website. I mean, we could kind of feature that information, but I don't think people wouldn't actually like do the mapping themselves. When they find something, they'd report it, and we would, do a site visit if needed and map it internally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way that we can make it work is that we use any tools that we have to our disposal, whether it be iNaturalist or somebody just calling us through the VT Invasives webpage. When they do report it, they usually say a lat long or give us a point or something, and then we confirm it. And I think that's where the survey 123 could be used as a better tool for all of us, is confirmation of new species locations.
And you can also, I did this thing on iNaturalist, like you're saying, using iNaturalist, Kim, you can like set notifications. So all those species we just described, tree of heaven and all those, stilt grass, etc., you can like set up a notifications thing. So you get notified anytime one of those things gets reported in iNaturalist. So you can go check it, so I'll get this like ding when, and my phone isn't going to ding, but I'll like get an email.
Yeah.
I'm not like wired to it at all times, but I'll get an email when one of those species reports. Savannah Ferreira helped me figure this out, and with the folks at FEMC. And so you can kind of filter stuff and get INAT reports, and then you can, look at the photo, see if it's been, sort of vetted by the other people in the crowd, So yeah, we're sort of like piloting some tools. We haven't really like broadened these tools to a bigger group, but I like that idea.
Yeah, I think at the very least, even if we can't make survey 123 accessible to everybody in the committee, which I hope we can. I mean, even just letting someone know with information on that does have, the access, and then we can just add it into it. So it's a little cumbersome.
Or just,
but I think if it's
just reporting
it's
it to VT Invasives. It'll go to me and Emily and Ben and, so.
And I don't think with the EDR species, it won't hopefully be like a million reports coming in all the time.
Except for giant hogweed.
Well, that one's just too fun. I mean, I have other species lists on here for the PRAs, but I don't know if we really need to maybe dive into that right now unless other people. Did anybody else have any interesting findings when they were working on theirs about the different species?
For mine, I had the honeysuckle. The only thing, I thought it was really well, I think it was really well done. I think Ben had done it. But the only thing I added was an F. There was something about ramifications of it spreading, and it could increase the populations of spotted winged Drosophila
Oh, wow.
and have an impact on commercial fruit. Small fruit.
How so? How is it increasing the spotted wing Drosophila?
Well, it's a host. So if you've got a host and where the pest is not being controlled, it just builds up in population.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what you're saying is that if we listed it, it would serve two purposes?
Yeah, it could help control European cherry fruit fly too.
Yeah, it's not going to control it. That's the wrong wording, but it's going
Okay.
to,
Right.
try to minimize it's we want to minimize population buildup. So by controlling the honeysuckle, you'd be minimizing fruit that the pest attacks.
Right.
Sorry, it was the privet, the ligustrum.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, so that one, there's definitely species in that are in the nursery industry to some degree. So that one may take some more time reaching out to the industry and seeing like maybe there are species that really aren't sold at all, and that would be a pretty easy add. But then if there's ones that are, then it's more complex. But I do think that I don't really see that growing. Like I don't see it. Have you seen it much privet growing naturalized in Vermont?
No.
Yeah, I
No, I
haven't either. But in others like New York State, I've seen huge parts of the understory that are covered in it. So it's I think one that would be good to get on top of. Before. But maybe just more discussion with the industry.
Yeah, we really need to get industry representation here.
So, Kent, the folks that you're talking to from the VNLA,
Good job.
is anybody able to sit?
There have been discussions, we flagged it, and Christina, who is the executive director, has a couple of people that she has thoughts on who might be interested. So we'll just continue following up on that, because at some point, if we don't have representation, that shouldn't be the reason that's the holdup. So
Right.
I think in my conversations with Christina, I'll just make it clear, it's an open, we want people here to engage with us, so we need them to engage back.
We need their expertise too.
We do.
Yeah, it behooves them to have representation because we're
Right.
talking about their industry.
Yep. Absolutely.
Is there any like data about how much of any one species gets sold in Vermont?
Oh my God,
Year?
that would be so awesome.
I know.
No, are you kidding me? We can't even get
It's not like
plants growing on the landscape.
Yeah.
it looks like other states might actually, big states might actually affect species or at least groups, but it's not like other commodities like you can find a tonnage of corn or something sold, but it's not like how many tons of box would
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And we can't even find out, like, bringing what in.
Yeah.
To go.
I mean, the closest, so I have gotten some inventory lists from nurseries before, just seeing if it's on there, nurseries that seem to have a huge breadth of species they sell, like their list. Just to kind of inform like what's potentially in the industry, pretty useful, but I don't know how much. More than just me going and seeing it with my own eyes.
Well, I mean, we'd have to go ask the owners for invoices, I mean, because they do, like, we know how many hemlock come
Yeah,
in some
sure, that's
places.
also
Sure, right. I mean, it would be helpful if we could get like the income of each nursery so we can assess size, so we can
Yeah,
come up with our priorities to inspect, but that is difficult.
I mean, it seems like that would be really important information to assess risk, because if you have one species that's being distributed
Right.
and like the industry is gonna take a huge loss if you list it. That
I think
also.
these are all really good, one of those things where we're building a relationship with VNLA again, and I think if we come up with questions that are helpful to us and would be to them, just like you phrased it that way, that would be a good way to ask them to provide that.
Yeah, one thing we could do is meet with the VNLA, with Christina and their executive leadership, the board leaders. Like,
Yep.
I think it's Gabe Bushy right now, is he the president?
No, he stepped down, yeah.
But maybe meet with him and Ralph and Chris Conant and just have a discussion about like how they want notification and what involvement and things like that. No harm asking.
Yeah.
But that would be like a legislative ask, right? Like if you had nurseries report every species that they sold.
I think that would just be a cool straight up no from the get-go. Yeah.
A lot of things like we know selling what, like I have, because boxwood moth is a threat, like I'm kind of tracking like, okay, who's selling more than one boxwood plant at a time.
Yeah, when we do some surveys, I've marked like maybe 30 different those genera or
Yeah.
your inspection to try to mark it.
But it varies because they get stuff in throughout the season, so it's a constant moving target. And we just go usually once. So we just get a snapshot of what's coming in.
Remember a few years ago, we were trying to figure out who was selling barberry,
Yeah,
and we couldn't find a list.
right.
So we basically had to call everybody to ask that question. And then they're like, well, why are you calling me for this?
It does seem,
So it's like they want to give us the information, but not really if they're selling it. So.
it's kind of, I mean, and this is, I'm coming at this like completely oblivious, obviously, to this side of things, but
No,
it's interesting to have a panel that's charged with assessing what can be sold in a nursery, and no one knows what's being sold in nurseries.
Mhm.
And then you're kind of going back and after something has already been widely distributed, before you can assess the risk.
Right, but we do, I mean, we know in general what people are selling at what times a year. Like, I don't have a list, like, oh, they got 30 of this.
Yeah, and Plant Health, we're pretty well tuned in with the industry and working with the NLI and trying to get, that's what we really need, that representation. I mean,
Right, to go back to them and say, well, we're thinking of doing
Yeah.
this, how much pushback are
and
we
even
getting?
more, I have different kinds of representation.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but if we really wanted to know something, we'd probably just go to the big ones.
I know, it's such a small state that we pretty much know the bigger one.
Like Trumbull.
Here, actually, I should say.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
How many, like, are they long lists?
yeah, they're giant.
Which I've never heard of.
That was privet.
Okay,
I see that.
Himalayan.
All these, but Himalayan balsam, which I don't think we actually got to discuss much, but that one.
So that one I did, but I wasn't able to go through it, all of it, because I did the other one first. And I forget what my other one was, that I sent to you, Grace. Yeah, euphorbia. So, so euphorbia is done, but not, so, but Toby was on the list with me. So Toby, I'm not sure if you were able to look through it, if Toby's still here. Oh, yeah. Oh, there you
No.
are. Okay. I did
Apologies.
find, that's all good. I did find, however, some additional information that I wanted to update, that it was kind of too late for me to kind of do a deep dive. And that is listed as the 8th and most invasive species in the world.
What is?
Yeah. So I was like, whoa, that's not on the sheet.
You know what, yeah, that's crazy.
So that's why I brought up some concerns earlier about like how we really look at these and get all the information that
I
we
know in
possibly
Britain, they
can.
have actually really bothered me. It was one of the examples I used as like yucky language is annually they have something called the balsam bashing. And they go out and they literally bash the balsams to death. I mean, it's like,
That's
wow,
weird.
it is. Have you ever heard of that? They literally, like, it's, yeah, look up balsam bashing. I mean, it's kind
But
of
isn't
bizarre.
what, so the other thing I was getting hung up on is I've never heard of the term, the balsam, Himalayan balsam. I've always just called it Oriental, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Um, no, actually not even, sorry. Yeah, impatience. Yeah, so I was gonna change the name. So I changed the name in the PRA, but not in this one yet. So in other words, there needs to be some additional work on this.
Himalayan balsam.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna call it that.
Okay.
We have a synonyms thing.
Purple jewelweed is the nicer name.
Oh, purple
Okay,
jewel,
purple
okay.
jewelweed.
This is in the big
Impatiens glandifloria. Ornamental jewelweed is the more common name.
Okay.
Ornamental jewelweed. So I'm just trying to get away from
Yeah.
these. And when we have the option to do so, I think we should do so.
I
too.
agree, yeah. So ornamental jewelry.
Ornamental jewelweed. Yep.
That's a mouthful.
OJ.
OJ, that's a lot easier.
So yeah, so that's, I'd like to do a deeper dive into that, it being such a worldwide phenomena, because I didn't realize that. No, but it is in other places. So again, that gets me back to like the distribution across the country. How is it affecting other states that is not affecting Vermont or even the region Northeast?
Hmm.
Because if it's the 8th
Yeah.
most invasive plant, then wow, we want to
Yeah,
put that on the list.
number 8.
Mhm.
Good job looking that up.
But it says, I mean, it is, has some population. Based on that.
Here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just recently. showed up.
yeah.
Oh,
It was funny, I saw it in Connecticut and I was like, oh, look at this pretty plant. It's an impatiens and the jewelweed, but it's pink. And
were they growing in like a lot of bunches? Were they
I've never
biscuits?
seen a big population, no. I've just seen like one on the side of the road in Barry. That's all I've ever seen. Yeah.
see, now this where I like the idea of mapping new populations. Because I would certainly go take time to go
Yeah.
confirm populations.
Yeah.
Too.
People who are out a lot on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
Have folks on the committee seen this escaped around the state?
I've just seen it a couple times, Toby.
I've seen it on private property in Northfield.
Like a big population that's spread from a garden?
I don't know the source, but yeah, pretty big. And then when I went to look, I think on iNaturalist, someone had already reported it in that area.
Yeah, so I think, that's what our former role too, was like people would go look at these potential plate species that we're gonna list. Is like, hey, let's ground confirm where these things are growing,
Yeah.
especially if they're small EDR potentials.
Like a dispatch system.
Yeah,
Yeah, and cold resources too. To see.
Well, and so that survey 1, 2, 3 could include a lot more species than to report than just those 8. If we decide that we want to include that with this group.
yeah, and perhaps it's a watch list species.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
Because I think as we're gathering information for our own purposes, I think that is so valuable to have the locations of these
There was
plants.
that one that you found, Black Jewel, it was a black jet bead.
Yeah.
And that one was actually just added to Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Yes, so there was like, it's,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, so I'd like to just jump in a little bit more, and Toby maybe can review it after I add some stuff into it.
Yep, sure.
Thank you.
But if there was any discussion about the euphorbia.
We can do that next time.
Definitely, we can do that next time. Unless you want to talk about it right now. Euphorbia?
No.
No, okay.
Nothing
Yeah, well,
pressing,
thanks for
but we both looked through it and.
Yeah, I think it's good shape, unless there's natives. That was my question to
There
you.
aren't any native lookalikes.
Okay.
Is that what you were asking?
Yeah. Or,
But.
or natives, period.
Well, they're native species in the same genus, but they're not gonna be easily mistaken.
Okay, so I'd like that, if you could add that comment in the other at the end, additional comments.
Yeah, sure.
And no hybridization,
Yeah.
because I did see the hybridization
It's
with,
messy.
yeah. And that was
Not
ranked
well
under Go Botany as rare. Yeah, so if you can just check that one out for me, that would be sweet. Okay,
understood. There's no native hybrid, there's no.
yeah,
hybrid that's native.
yeah, that's what I was like, what was that talking about? So,
Yeah, okay, I
thank
will,
you.
yeah. I will.
And if you are gonna leave, if you guys are okay, I wanted to bring up Nelumbo lutea with potentially
Yeah.
your input too.
Yeah.
Because, so I actually did a pest risk assessment, 3 years ago.
Oh.
So I have a pest risk assessment, was done 3 years ago. Basically, it's a new population of American lotus. It's in the Brattleboro Retreat Meadows area, and it is expanding. So I don't know how to list it because it is native in some locations and non-native, and it's also southern species. So if we can maybe put that on the list next time to figure out what we should do with it. Whether because it's potentially it could get pretty aggressive. So,
I'm concerned about that.
okay. Yeah.
It's somewhat controversial because some people think they want it, or some people have expressed they think it should be treated as native because it's further south and it's known to have been moved historically by indigenous people. But we have direct evidence that it was introduced at Retreat Meadows, so I just don't think it's appropriate to treat it as native. I think I told you last time there people now are collecting seed from it and wanting to propagate it, and I'm really concerned about that and would like to.
We should
Yeah.
definitely talk about that.
Us, take a stance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, we're not treating this.
yeah.
Okay. So I thank you. I appreciate your professional opinion because we have surveyed it every year since the initial 2021 report, and it is expanding, and it's in fact taken over one wetland already. And So I've looked at management options and it's just unmanageable.
Wait, which one is this?
Colombo, Luteo, American Lotus. And so what I can do is, since I did the pest risk assessment before we changed the format, I can update it to the new format and send the maps and send our survey information out to folks.
Do we have to do that, or could we agree we can use the old versions? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't
I mean,
mind.
instead of having to switch it over, can we just be like anything before this date is valid and it's system? We want them all the
In
same.
the new format, probably be
This
just
is kind of based over, I think, for consistency's sake, if we're reviewing.
Sorry, Kim, I was gonna say this.
No, it's okay.
How, or do you know why, like, why it might be? And I looked at Go Blind, he says it potentially maybe the native in like Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so
Why it's
let me pull up
so-
the pest risk assessment.
Where was it introduced from for this, that one? Do you
I
remember?
don't know where they got the materials.
Yeah.
So the person who potentially planted it in this place was doing it for a friend who had passed away as in her memory or their memory, and they planted it in the
That's so
wetland
sad.
location.
On multiple
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah, it's a legacy thing. So
No, like, in its native,
Is it?
in its native range. like,
Rare
what-
species there.
What controls it in its native range, you know?
I don't know. I don't know what could, so that's again why I want to do a deep dive.
That's true.
But let's see.
Unusual because it's actually treated as rare and of conservation concern in some southern states. So it's really odd. It's
Have you come
unusual.
across a lot of people, how controversial is this? It's clearly complex and complicated.
It's not very
Or is it not?
controversial.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one, actually, it was really just this one guy who's very outspoken, including on social media,
Is he
who
actually?
was promoting it.
Oh, I don't know that.
Well, and yeah, and then we can counter that and like actually reach out and have a conversation if we do decide that that's something that is concerning. And that is, we would want to do it sooner rather than later so that it doesn't get out. Yeah.
Mhm. So in New York, it changed from native to unknown, non-native in 1997. New Hampshire, it's not listed. One population is present and they managed it. Massachusetts, it's non-native. Maine, invasive. Connecticut, invasive. Rhode Island, invasive. Pennsylvania, changed from native endangered to invasive in 2017.
Change from native endangered to.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, Pennsylvania.
Wait, that's the threshold?
Yeah, and then if you look,
Endangered to
So-
invasive?
so not everybody can see this map, but you can see the
Maybe
range.
something weird
That
with
is the
that.
range. The present range of it. Sorry, folks, you can't see us online, but you can look it up on USGS mass database.
Share your screen if you want, but I see.
Yeah, if I have,
With, I guess, so with the aquatic, with the aquatic rules, aquatic nuisance species rules, like it does, aren't, like you're still able to do things to address species, even species that are native, like. Because of the,
we haven't utilized that
okay.
leg yet. We really fall back on Agency of Ag to list these species. Because we have to go to
No, I
statute.
be honest, I guess I'm just saying that like using, yeah, it's interesting how the aquatics, we have this.
Yeah, so it's, I think for us, it would be better to list it as
Yeah.
invasive. So we can stop the spread and,
So would this be a tier 1 or tier 2 at this point?
well, yeah, I mean, it's here. That's considered tier 1. We're not gonna get rid of it. There's no way. It's spreading way too much.
Okay, then.
To talk to the botanists in Pennsylvania,
Hmm,
Maybe there is some.
what that process was like, and
yeah, would you be able to reach out to them?
yeah.
Okay. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I think New York listed it so long ago and changed it. It would not be worth it because it's probably not people that know that. 1997. I have talked to New Hampshire folks and Maine folks and Connecticut and Massachusetts. They all agree that it should be invasive.
That sounds like it's consensus.
Yeah,
It's pretty
Connecticut
straightforward.
does regulate it, so.
And how does it spread again?
Seeds,
Just like the aquatic seeds, right?
yes, they're aquatic seeds.
So it's potentially more containable than a wind blown.
Yeah, it's not containable so much because it's on the water.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'll bring that one up next one. Thanks for your input. Staying behind. Have to get on it. Yeah, me too, when I went and visited it, and I said, oh my God, it's everywhere.
Yeah, we shared the drone photos last week.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
that was really, it's in Brattleboro. They're always way the hell.
Yeah.
Brattleboro has a lot.
Yeah, it is our gateway, so that's why we support partners doing work down there.
Parks down there.
That was my mission. Yeah.
It is.
So you said you had to go?
Yes.
No, glad you could make it.
Okay. So, thank you.
Mostly wrap up.
Doing the watch list thing?
Yeah, I can bring up the watch list again. Don't want to get too deep into it towards the end, but yeah, I have which I did actually, I uploaded it to our Teams folder. It's under a watch list and new folder for it.
Can I ask a quick question? How many of the rest of you have heard of that American Lotus or encountered it? Everyone online there? No?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it in your lands, your federal areas? Oh, sorry, Meg, you're not federal. Sorry.
I don't know of it on the national forest.
Yeah, okay, that's good. All right, thanks.
We don't deal with the aquatics much. Usually it's
Right.
state land.
Yeah,
Yeah, same.
thanks.
Mike, how have you noticed it? You're referring to the Brattleboro?
It's not noticed. It's just that it's relevant and talked about in the aquatics world, that's an issue and a concern. So I don't have to deal with it at all. Thank you. And don't wish to. I would support it being listed.
Got it.
Yeah, just, we have to stop it from occurring in Champlain, so, yeah,
That'd be great.
yeah, doing my best.
Yeah, so watch list, I have, and this is just something I've been working on for a while. And I did it finally, I uploaded it to the Teams folder. And I've been basically compiling kind of all of our surrounding states lists that have lists, and then I even threw in, and I mean, it's just sort of still an unofficial list and it's a work in progress, but I threw in states like Minnesota and Oregon because I think they have very strong introduced plant programs, and also tells us just other places in the country and what could be coming from other places. But I have all our surrounding states, New England, New York, New Jersey. Actually, finally, they created a regulated list just very recently, which actually had a couple of species that were totally not on my radar, or even on other states' lists. So that's why it's good to look at other folks. But yeah, it stands at, I guess it's like 350 species, but that includes our list as well, like our probably 40 or 50 that we are currently regulating.
So blue is the, you want to share your screen, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Blue is the listed species, just to get a color coordination thing here.
Yeah.
And then priority column N is like the high score ones should or the column M is on our, L is the historic watch list. M is the new watch list.
A lot of- a lot of-
Yeah,
But I think it did actually help me prioritize like our set of PRAs that we were doing. You know, I basically just added up the number of states that had a species on their list, and then that kind of informed like, oh, it's of the most concern for our surrounding areas, and we also want to be concerned about it. But there's any number of ways that we could actually tackle prioritizing these. So I don't, I'm open to different ideas, and of course, our state is, different factors that may make something more or less important. But it's at least a start, I think, to have things on our radar. There's a lot of species to look at.
I think proximity would be one. Also, I mean, we have a funky group of states on there. Is that Oregon is on there?
Yeah, this is just me picking. I'm open to lots of input. I just was kind of going off of, the local states, and also I think, we're in Minnesota, as those comes up every time, like, very strong program. Other country.
and I wonder, like, Pennsylvania might be good because as things
True.
move
Yeah.
north, that might be like the first state that gets some of these. And did you compare this list to the risk list?
I don't know if I have
That would be helpful because I think they've done this already. They've compared other species to, what's listed in each
Yeah.
New England state. And then they have the climate
Do you
change.
guys want to share screen with the,
Oh,
It's got it. can we share the,
Oh, no, I think, is Toby talking about the list?
I know, Joby, were you talking about the watch list that we're looking at?
Yeah, is that something we can take a look at, or?
Are you able to access our teams?
Oh, no,
Folder?
oh, the folder, is it in the folder?
Yeah.
It
that's the
is,
one I'm
yeah.
looking at.
So it is still an unofficial list, just for the record. But it is,
Do you want to share a file? So you
it's
can,
on there, yeah.
no, I mean, share it on the
Oh, on
Teams
screen,
screen,
yeah.
yeah.
Here, I'll put it in the chat box just in case.
But I just
don't-
want to keep,
I don't think I can get to it.
You and Katie can be the outskirts.
maybe,
Yeah, I just sent a link.
I think wait, is the risk
Oh, there you go.
committee the one that we
Yes,
we sit in on?
yeah, the one with Jenica.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, so I think I want to compile. Yeah, more work needs to be done. This is just a good way for me to start.
No, I think this is great, and it was helpful for pulling together the PRAs.
Yeah, I think I would just like, so I know that the risk group did a lot of work on these too, and just pulling that information might be
Yeah.
another lens for us to consider.
Yeah, and it's, of course, it's always hard to keep things updated, like it's every state's making changes all the time.
Right,
So,
except for like Connecticut, which hasn't changed its species list in 20 years.
They don't have anybody working down there, unfortunately, except for the ag station.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're Spro, but for whatever reason, it's hard. Some states are more difficult to change legislation than others.
So maybe as a homework for all of us, may I suggest that we look at this list and maybe come up with some that we think are appropriate?
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. Everybody come up with your top 3 or something. Hello, Steve.
Another thing to do would be to think of what we want to use for establishing priorities. They come up with a system first, and
Yes,
Was that the ranking system?
yeah, so that's what
Was the
we,
conversation about?
right, or maybe even something more ballpark. I don't know, I'm always looking for the lazy way out.
well, we can look at the old way, the procedures that we had in the last one,
Right.
and then just bring those up again and see how it may be updated. Because I think things needed to be on the watch list to then go to the PRA.
Right.
And I think the watch list was like
But I
basically
think,
doing what we're doing is like seeing what's on other states' radars.
Right.
Mhm.
And in addition to that, if we pick our top three, we can see if our methods match our instincts.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so our new rule does say, say that pipeline is, watch list, then PRA, then listed. But Kim, do you remember how you prioritize on the watch list? Which ones? should be?
did I not upload that document?
Might have, I just.
Sorry. This was a few months ago when I did that. I was like, I'm gonna do it right now. I forget.
Yeah, there's.
Documents. General. No, I don't think I did, Ben.
Okay.
Let me look through that document again, and I will definitely upload it into documents. Oh, really? Where?
I'm opening it. It says criteria for moving species from watch list to quarantine list, but maybe that's just what PRA.
Would there be an easy way to add the common names or? Probably not.
Well, it can be added, yeah. Because all the states lists, the common names were different. Sometimes they varied,
Right,
or they were capitalized, or,
right,
you're trying to harmonize all the data, since it's just standardized.
right.
But we could pull, I could do a
No, that's okay. I can
look
look up
up.
stuff.
Yeah, I know one particular that I'm gonna want to add it. Well, two, Nelumbo and Petonia palustris.
That's okay. I think
I think it'll get us used to using
it's white
scientific
mulberry.
names.
So Toby's asking if white mulberry.
It makes
is on
sense.
other States list. Thanks for putting the Latin name in. I'll look it up. Oh, God, use the search feature, Jude. Hello, brain.
You know,
There are aquatics in here.
I'm seeing how many other states regulated lists.
So, Ben, did you not find that document or?
Yeah, I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it on this list, Toby. The Morris Alba.
Um, Oh, here we go. No, Kim, I did find it. So I found criteria for moving species from watch list to quarantine list, which is under. I don't know if that's one you're referring to. It's under historical PRAs and fact sheets.
Oh, okay, cool. Under archive.
Yeah, under archive, and then you have something like.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Impact is 40% for the week.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this. I think that would be helpful. We wanted to start weighting things
Yeah.
too.
Well, then I guess it's also like. Yeah, like within the PRA waiting, and then, but even just determining what we will do a PRA on.
Mhm.
It's hard to know.
Toby, do you feel like the white mulberry is a problem?
It seems to be a invasive plant listed in maybe states a little further south and to the west. I'm asking just because there's a lot of interest in agroforestry species, and so we're seeing a lot more of these, I don't know, kind of fringe non-native species being requested, and so I was just curious if some of these ones we were concerned about were showing up on some of the nearby states, and I just missed it.
What's the mulberry that we have in Vermont that people use for?
Well, there's red is native, and I think
Okay.
it's state threatened or endangered or something, I want to say, but the white is from China, I believe.
Yeah, that's what it said on the site I just.
They readily hybridize to the white and the red, so it's challenging to. It's kind of, yeah.
Is it easy to ID the hybrids?
Uh,
They're not
maybe
pink, are they?
some degree. Yeah.
It's not gonna be so easy.
Grace be the one that's better.
But you said red mulberry might be endangered.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
like
it's S1.
Oh, wow.
It's range.
Thank you.
Sure.
Huh.
Yeah, it's worth adding or looking.
Highly invasive.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I have more time, I can try to create other prioritization tools, and I think risk may also, the climate suitability stuff.
Yeah, there was, I'm not sure where they're at, but I know they were talking about wanting to set up a more regional ranking system.
So North Carolina State is promoting its planting of white mulberry. That's great.
Who is? North,
North Carolina Extension, in the plant toolbox.
Okay.
well, it is on EDS maps, Toby, so I don't know if you've seen that. Says it's in Vermont.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
found
mean, there's multiple states that have it as a watch list, I believe.
Does it say where in Vermont?
Just half the states,
They're like,
and under EDS maps.
Oh,
I found
Maps.
either they're white mulberry or they're like hybrids in like Chittenden County, like there's
Oh, wow.
weedy street trees along like
Great.
the sidewalk, like the edge of the.
Mhm.
Yeah, and any other species that anybody else wants to flag that they've heard or seen of?
Well, we'll bring a list to you. In the
Yeah.
next meeting, we'll bring the list.
Sure.
Then, yeah, so the next meeting, everybody will come with their top three. Does that top five, top 3, 5, whatever?
3 to 5.
Top 3 to 5.
And some ideas about
Of
how,
ones to prioritize
and how.
For the
what
watch
methods
list.
we
for
use.
the,
Right, it's like ideas for how we rank them or how we.
yeah, like the
Prioritize.
pipeline of order
Right.
within the watch list.
Right.
So
Is
we
it
have-
possible to get this just emailed out, the Excel, because I think
Yeah.
I have trouble accessing shared documents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's why we had everything on Google Docs before.
Right, but the state can't use, we're not allowed to use Google.
No.
So it becomes difficult to find something that works for everybody. We keep asking.
Yeah. Well, we could just do it on the down low.
Right.
Yeah, so Toby needs it too.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a plan then.
So Toby, I take it you weren't able to get that link that I sent.
Well, I can get to the link, but it's like 18 steps and I still, I got to install various things and I don't think we like talking with your SharePoint.
Yeah, so that's what Kate was having the same problem.
Mhm. No, I have the same issue too.
And you too,
Yeah,
Steve.
because you guys are all federal.
Yeah.
Like when I go on federal Teams meetings, some of us can't access the chat.
So I wonder, since there's all the PRAs that are in the SharePoint folder that 3 people can't access, should we have another Google Doc
Well,
file?
should we save them on the old one or is that too confusing?
If you send them, I'm fine with that. You don't need to do anything special. You just might have to send me stuff directly.
But we could do that, then everybody has their own set, but that's kind of concerning because then you have multiple versions.
Yeah, we should try to avoid the Google stuff if possible, I think.
Well, we need to find some platform that, is there a SharePoint that state and feds can access?
You could watermark it with a draft thing if you're worried about people getting their hands on it. Is that the security concern? or-
No, I'm more like, because then you're gonna have multiple versions because somebody will edit it.
I was just thinking about our IT preferences.
Oh,
I think
I mean,
this
I
has
think-
come up before. I think it's really up to the partner to figure out, basically.
yeah, well, we can ask, we could ask Sarah if there's something.
Well, I think the Teams folders, I think the best.
Well, yeah, except for the people who can't.
I know, but we may just have to, unless like, if we, like, post storage. or something.
No.
No, not for, no.
No,
I think this has to be on a state, this should be on an ag SharePoint site or like something that is accessible but housed in ag, just for organizational purposes.
Well, if you want, I can ask Sarah if there's something that we already have that.
Yeah, why doesn't the Teams folder work?
Well, it's just some folks can't get access to it, but I don't know if we'll ever be able to get something.
Well, is it just Katie? Katie, I'm so sorry.
It's Katie,
But is it just
Toby,
Katie?
Steve and
Okay.
Toby,
Three of
some of our federal partners.
Yep.
Well, I mean, in the meantime, you know.
I mean, we could have a shadow Google Drive where we just house the same stuff. And give that link to the federal folks. Do we
And
just
that
put a
is,
copy?
that's using your personal. So.
Yeah, or we just accept that unfortunately you can't get in and we will email you the attachments. I think that is really the easiest way to do. Hello. Ooh. Thank you. Thank you so much, Laura.
Well, Ethan, very, right in front of the camera.
all right, so I guess,
Okay.
yeah, we just have to email you guys
Yeah, well,
everything.
All right, well, I'll send Sarah a note and just ask her. If there's-
These look delicious.
Well, I'll put it on our stupid,
They always have.
Okay.
stupid-
That's great. Then I guess we have a plan somewhat. Before we end, we need to figure out what the next date is. And also just recognizing Steve and Melissa have offered their nice spots. And in the spirit of collaboration and partnership, I just want to open that up, that it has been offered. And,
The Force
yeah.
Center's beautiful too. It's really cool space.
And how long does it take from this area?
From this area, it's 45 minutes away.
Okay.
Actually, the drive is maybe a little longer than that, so Woodstock's like, south central.
And you have the equipment and everything all ready to go for
Yeah.
virtual?
Yes, I think we do, but I need to double check that with the IT because it's been interesting.
Okay.
Where is it at?
Woodstock, Vermont.
What's your address?
It's like right in between Rutland and Lebanon, and White River Junction. So
Okay.
it's like kind of right in the middle, probably out of the way for most people.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's the virtual option too. I
That's
think it's
true.
important to just, you're offering it and
Oh,
you're
yeah.
part of our partnership. You shouldn't have to always drive. And I've never been, so I'm curious.
Oh, yeah,
Alright.
we can do a whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if we went, it would be really nice to just see
Oh, totally.
what you get to do all day.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, we could put together how we can show you how we manage the bases too,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
databases.
Yeah.
So I guess that creates the question, we are heading into our busy season the next time.
Can we set
Uh,
quarterly?
And we did say quarterly. That being said, I mean, all of it is flexible. So what do folks want to do? It's February now. Do we want to meet one more time before the busy season? Because I think we all agree that during the summer, it's just not feasible and it just isn't a good idea. So it'll be the fall, the next time we have an opportunity. So,
I would really like to get Lumbo figured out by everybody.
okay, that's fair, yeah.
So I would vote for either May. I know that's hard for the riparian buffer folks.
And
April, May.
Is there any input or feedback from folks online about preferences or ideas or, yeah, just any weighing in there?
I think April or May is great. I think June is a little too late.
Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah, early May would be ideal from my perspective.
Next week of April 20th. It was early May. Early May. Going once, going short, starting May 11th, week starts to go rough. Early May.
early May, okay. What day? Want, today's a Tuesday. So if it's early May, earlier the better. So May 4th, 5th, or 6th, yeah. Would May 5th work for folks? May 5th is Tuesday? Yeah, Bonnie, go for it.
I was trying to do the thumbs up. But yes,
Oh. You just went with all 5 fingers.
That's
You're
right.
so enthusiastic. Okay.
This is not great for me, but this,
Oh, okay.
how about the 6th?
Sorry, Meg.
How about the 6th?
Yeah, 6
4 or 6 better for Toby.
or 6 is better? Okay.
That's our.
It's what?
April 6th.
April
Oh, is
6th.
it the plant board?
No, that's April.
Oh, wait.
No, just May 4th or 6th is better for
Oh,
me
May
if
6th.
possible.
May 6th.
Sorry, Ed.
Sorry.
Shall we do May 6th? And do we want to do it at Steve's shop?
Yeah, we could do a whole little national park thing.
I love that.
Nice wildflowers too, right?
So I think we should probably meet up for, yeah, 11 to 3 sounds great.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and for folks who don't want to make the trip down, we will have that virtual option that will be included. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
And has this committee changed?
Not yet,
Okay.
not yet, not officially. All right, cool. That does it.
Oh, the agenda items, should we say what they are?
Oh, the action items?
Yeah,
we flagged a few.
and
things.
or agenda items.
Um,
So we're gonna review the PRAs that we discussed today as a team, right? All of us will discuss them.
We're gonna vote on them?
No, we're gonna wait till next time. So we're
No.
all, the
No,
entire committee is gonna review, oh yes, and vote on them. After some updates are made. But everybody's gonna review the PRAs that we discussed today.
Mhm.
We're gonna do, we're gonna review the document and I will send it out. Of how, yeah, procedural, how to list things. And have that discussed. We're gonna talk about maybe maps and survey 1, 2, 3
Yes, maps and survey 1,
with
2, 3.
EDRR.
Yep.
And we're going to bring 3 to 5 watch list species
Each.
to
Sounds good.
the table.
Plus, thoughts on creating priorities. Right, the method.
The ranking?
Yeah,
Wow, that's gonna be a packed day.
Not if we're all prepared. Yeah, it can be a packed day. We could list them in order of priority. Also, Emmy, you were gonna look into the seed mix stuff? Maybe we
Yes,
can
seed
report on
mix,
that.
yep, thank you.
And then did we want to follow up with the reed canary grass, the remaining questions, or do we feel like we've settled that?
I think it's within it's agency questions now about ag, like
Yeah.
farming, seed mixes and stuff.
mhm.
Yeah, I forget if there was any other outstanding question besides that.
I was wondering maybe, Ben, if you might have time to look at the risk list. And add
Yeah.
that in the
Yeah, I
column,
think that's, yeah.
and maybe add Pennsylvania in the column.
Thank you for sending that. That was very fast.
I'm excited.
Okay. I'm gonna forward that, what you just sent to. Liquor.
Do we want to review any of the other PRAs that we've discussed? Like even just initially as we did today, like we initially discussed these, 5 PRAs
Do we want to discuss it for what purpose?
for the next meeting, like just to have an initial list? Or do you think we already have enough agenda items?
We have a lot of agenda
I do,
items, but
but there was one other follow-up one I just found.
what?
I mean, maybe we could do that for the meeting after that, because these seem like high priority, because you want to get that American Lotus. So Grace was going to talk to the botanist in Pennsylvania about the American Lotus,
Yeah.
how that worked over there.
Yeah.
Maybe you said that
How they
already.
changed.
Yeah.
The list.
Someone doing PR, gonna want to start doing PRA.
Yeah, I will do that.
Oh, great.
I will transfer over my information from my old PRA to my new PRA.
Oh, that's great. It's written ready, so you can just update it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ready to go. And I will send out that information to the team, to the committee.
Great.
It sounds like a nightmare.
Bye, Caitlin. Thank you. All right, everybody.
Okay, thanks all.
We will see folks May 6th, Wednesday,
Great.
Okay,
down
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
in
you.
what part of the state is
Hi,
it?
have a good day.
Stop.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for coming all the way up in person. That was pretty great.
Yeah, I feel like I've been out of the loop for a little while. Are we still recording?
Yes, hang on. End it. That's the problem. Oh, just wait, just X out, just leave.
Just leave.
I left, but it's still.
Oh,
Oh,
because you're
that's a
still in the
little-
chat. Oh, because you haven't, you haven't uninvited it?